Hey everyone, this is Rob, and I'm here with Mike, Martel, and Joe, and we are the Four Jobbers. And tonight we are rehashing Survivor Series. So we made predictions on Friday before the show, and it is my sworn duty, because I made you all lock them in, to inform you that Mike was the prediction winner this time
No,
around.
boo!
And
I thought I had it in the bag, bro.
Mike had 4, Martel had 3, and Joe and I had 2.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Oof,
But
2.
Nice,
Mike
Mike.
was
Nice.
even more impressive because Mike called that Bailey was going to be eliminated first.
Yo.
See?
And he also called that Lana was going to be the sole survivor for Team Raw.
You know somebody.
Damn, Mike.
You know you got a stooge or something. I know it.
So congratulations on that. That was very
You
impressive.
work. Matter of fact, you worked in Stanford, didn't you? I know. I knew it.
I did. I actually did.
knew it. See, look.
All
See,
right.
you cheated.
Here we go, everybody. So it started on the kickoff show with the dual branded Battle Royal. So for Raw, it was Ricochet, John Morrison, The Miz, Humberto Carrillo, Angel Garza, Elias, Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin, and Jeff Hardy. And for SmackDown, it was Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio, Chad Gable, Shinsuke Nakamura, Apollo Crews, Kalisto, Robert Roode, Murphy, and Dolph Ziggler. So like I said, this was the Oprah match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get on the pay-per-view, and you get on the pay-per-view, and you get on the pay-per-view. Everybody gets on the pay-per-view.
It just sucks because look at the talent that you listed off. Like these aren't just guys that like Ray wasn't on the card, Hardy wasn't on the card. Like Rick, there's a lot of guys there that could have been involved somehow, but it's like I didn't really take too much notes on that, so I really it was what it was. It was cool, but
I don't know what you guys thought, but like to me, watching the show last night, it was a really fast show.
Yeah, I agree.
Honestly, time felt like it went by so quick.
Yeah, like I started it at the normal time at 7 when it started, and then I'm watching it. I'm like, wait, it's like 9 o'clock, and the last match is coming up. What the?
Right. By the time I got home last night, it was like 10, and it's already finished.
Yeah.
I was like, really?
It was crazy.
Okay. But I
kind of appreciate that. I appreciate that.
I like that. I don't like sitting for 4 or 5 hours for a show. No, those days are long gone. Hopefully.
So the Miz won the Battle Royal by faking out Dominic.
Yeah, it was pretty clever though, the way he won it.
Yeah,
I agree.
I thought it was pretty clever.
I'm not against it, especially since since he just got the briefcase. I feel like it puts a little more heat on him. Obviously, Dominic thinks he won. Everybody's like, "Oh, wow, he won!" It's Dominic Mysterio. Nah, Miz ain't going for it.
So you would think
too young.
Just to step back and jump into the realm of reality for a minute, you would think that since Domino hasn't heard the ring bell yet and his music isn't playing,
right? He'd be like, hello."
That's a classic battle royal right there.
I was gonna say, like, all caught up in the moment, but like you didn't hear the bell. Your music's not playing, so you should be thinking that maybe something's quite amiss.
Imagine what it would do for him if he did win, though.
Yeah.
Well, the Miz won, and he got nothing for it. So.
Right. Was he even on Raw tonight?
Nope.
I didn't see him at all. I didn't finish it, but I didn't see Miz at all or Morrison. Was Drew on the show?
No, you didn't finish Raw?
I got to like where I left off was like I think Keith Lee versus Lashley.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, because I started it late, so this whole time I was trying to catch up before we got on. So I was like, you know what? I'll just finish it later. You'll probably tell me who won. Anyway.
Yeah, spoilers. Sorry.
Damn.
Sorry. So that was the kickoff show Battle Royal. So the actual Survivor Series itself. All right.
Hey. The Gobbledygooker won the 24/7 title of the pre-show. Come on.
And then lost it. And then lost it. then lost it right back in what I
Yeah.
think may be one of the funniest segments I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was definitely entertaining.
Um,
It's like the 24/7. Those segments is always a hit or miss for me. It's like sometimes they're like, "Come on, you're trying too hard to be funny," but then it's like sometimes it's like, "All right, nah, you got me with that one."
have any of you guys ever gone back to watch the initial Survivor Series 30 years ago to see the actual first appearance of the gobbledygooker?
No,
I
I
haven't.
haven't.
It's interesting.
Was it in Hartford, Connecticut?
Yes, it was in Hartford, Connecticut.
That's our one,
No,
guys.
I don't think I did. I was about to say something different. I was gonna say I did watch the one when the Undertaker came out, but that's a different one. That's not
No,
the
it's the
first
same one.
either. Is it?
30 years ago, yeah.
When the gobbledygook, blah, blah, blah. It's so hard to say that name. When the Gooker came out.
So the best part of the gobbledygooker thing is he hatched out of a giant egg, and Mean Gene Okerlund had to make the best of it.
Oh God.
It was.
I gotta watch that.
It was fantastic.
I'm sure he did.
I've seen the clip, but I've never gone in depth on it.
If you guys have never watched any of those older pay-per-views, you really should go back and watch it before it got super produced and the production values went through the roof and everything. Some of those older shows are really great little nostalgia pieces.
Right. It's hard for me to watch full shows, like full pay-per-views from back then. What I do, one thing I love doing is going back and looking for certain matches. Like I love looking for like Mr. Perfect matches, Owen Hart matches. I went back and watched Austin and Brett. I watched old Undertaker matches. Like I love watching. Like I'll type in this person versus this person.
Right.
Do they have a match?
Right.
And that's how I study.
One of the most amazing things about back then was WWE only ran 4 pay-per-views a year.
That's a novelty for them.
Survivor Series, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, and
WrestleMania? Or Royal Rumble?
Royal Rumble, thank you.
AKA the Big Four.
Yep. And they're the Big Four because
I wish it stayed like that. 4. That's a perfect setup.
They were the only 4. And so you would go 3 months building to a pay-per-view.
Right, which I think is way better too, especially because that's exactly what well, not exactly, but AEW does the same, where they have like a certain amount of year so that they have time to build up stories, and I think it's better that way.
Well, the
like,
reason AEW the reason
ahead.
AEW has to do only so many a year is because AEW doesn't have a network. So AEW would have to charge $50 for every pay-per-view.
Right.
If they tried to charge $50 a month nowadays, people would go crazy.
Right. And it's like when they have, like, now that they have the net, not they meaning AEW, but meaning WWE, now that they have the network, it's like now they could just throw shows together. Like a lot of the shows during the pandemic era, some of them were pretty good, some of them were great, but some of them was like, come on, this is just a regular like throwaway. But yeah, go on.
So were you guys surprised that the pay-per-view started with the men's Survivor Series match?
Yes.
Not me, really.
I was very surprised. Like I thought for sure it would be. What was that, Joe?
Oh, I was gonna let you guys go. But I was gonna say they do have to space them out, but I kind of like it. But I understand because it's so much like with both of them, so they have to put on different sides. But I kind of liked it.
Right. I thought they would have gone like maybe have, I don't know, maybe the tag titles match go first or something like that.
Yeah, I was expecting one of the other title matches. Yeah, one of the I thought Sammy Bobby would have either Sammy Bobby or
I can't wait to get into that match.
The tag title. My notes for that match, by the way, simply read pretty much exactly what I expected.
It can't be. No way. It can't be exactly because we'll get there. We'll get there when we get there.
All right. So let's start with the men's Survivor Series 5-on-5. So of course it was AJ Styles, Riddle, Keith Lee, Sheamus, and Braun Strowman for Raw versus Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, King Corbin, and Otis for SmackDown. So Raw pulled off a clean sweep. All 5 members of Team SmackDown eliminated. No members of Team Raw eliminated. So I'm going to give you my notes first, and then you guys can chime in with yours. So I like the fact that the back of the shirts had the networks for the respective brands written on them.
I'm still here,
Bless
guys.
you.
Don't worry.
Thank you.
Oh, my video is gone.
Your video for you or for Martel? Yeah, I see that. Martel, your
For
video.
all you guys, can you guys see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Yeah, we can see you.
I'm still here. I'm writing something down.
It's like it just says here. It's like their names.
Yeah, your video is not really moving at all, Joe, but I can see you. Now your video is moving a little.
Okay. Yeah, I turned my Xbox off because I didn't want the Wi-Fi to like get all cramped.
I'll tell you good.
Oh, it's back.
Yeah, I'm good.
See you guys.
You guys can go on. I'm listening. I'm just writing something down, but I'm here.
Oh, okay. So we'll do the play-by-play really quickly. So Sheamus eliminated Rollins with a brogue kick. Strowman blows through everyone from SmackDown on the outside, which I thought was great. I'm so glad that they put that spot in. Styles eliminates Owens with a phenomenal forearm. Riddle eliminates Corbin with a floating bro. Strowman eliminates Otis with a running power slam. And Keith Lee pins Jay with the spirit bomb. So again, like, were you guys surprised it was not as evenly competitive? Were you guys surprised it was kind of a squash for Raw?
I wasn't surprised. I mean, I didn't think they were gonna go in that direction in terms of a clean sweep. But given the storytelling that they've been doing the past few weeks, with the infighting in the team, and I'm the captain, no, you're not the captain. Oh, we got code name. They were just always bickering and bickering. I'm like, you know what? The only way this will blow off is if they come together and win. But I didn't expect it to be it was like a definitive, decisive win. Like as soon as what I was surprised about was Rollins. Now, Rollins did something different that I don't think I've ever seen before, where he sacrificed himself, so to speak. And as soon as he was eliminated, they started falling one by one. So I was just like, I mean, I guess, what did you guys think?
Go ahead, Joe. Rob, go ahead.
I was a bit surprised that it was a Raw squash. I thought that it would be a little more evenly competitive. I mean, quite frankly, it made SmackDown look bad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what happens Friday night to the team because, quite frankly, it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
I actually want to see what Jay's going to do on SmackDown.
I want to see what Jimmy's going to do.
Right. Because that was
I think.
Yeah.
I think that those two brothers have diametrically opposed point of views right now.
I mean, but that's how Jay started too. Jay was so like, yo, like, I'm going to stand up for myself. Even though we're family, like, you can get it too. But now that he's gotten whooped a couple times, it's like, you know what? You're right, Oos. Like, you run this, So if that's what it's going to take for Jimmy to fall in line, then that's what they're going to do. I could definitely see Jay, taking his frustrations out on his brother at some point. But I don't know if Jimmy's cleared to compete just yet. I don't know how, if he's back, or if he's just poking his head in a little bit like he did a couple times already. But I could definitely see them, like listen, if you don't want to fall in line, we're gonna make you fall in line.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting going forward for those two.
I love the story.
Yeah, I wanna talk a little more about it when we get to the last match.
Right.
But
I did have a. Did you guys have any notes on this besides what we already discussed?
Oh, I want to add real quick that I don't know, like I like the squash kind of because with the gimmick matches, especially when you have two of them on one show, it gets so repetitive, it gets so clogged up, like with the Rumble and with the Hell in a Cell, with every Elimination Chamber. So I like the idea of like switching it up and making it a squash, even if it's on first, because it's just like I don't know. If it was my choice, I would like kind of kill how much they use these gimmick matches. But they're not gonna because like they don't have anything to do, so they bring everything out. Like I wish Hell in a Cell they got rid of that completely. I can ball into that if I want. I'm just saying like I like how it was condensed.
well, let me stop you for a minute, Joe, because you have said that you haven't watched the older Survivor Series. So just so you understand, the old Survivor Series, all the matches were 4-on-4 elimination matches.
Interesting.
Like every
really?
single match. That was why they called it the Survivor Series, because the person left
I
at
didn't
the
know
end of the
that.
match was the sole survivor.
Well, but I get his point in this case.
That's actually I like that idea a lot.
Right. And they used to do that a lot too. Like obviously not way back then, but like in the mid 2010s where they would have like the main stars going head to head. Then they would have like the mid card stars go head to head, And it
Right,
wasn't always SmackDown versus Raw either. It was
Right.
like the heels versus the faces and tag teams versus tag teams, women versus women.
The problem with elimination matches by their nature is they take forever. So
Yeah.
the reason Survivor Series came about was they wanted to have these elimination matches, but they were so long that they had to build an entire show just of elimination matches.
Right.
I would say this men's elimination match, it kind of went by pretty quickly. So
Yeah. It
I'm
was a
okay with
squash.
it.
It was
Yeah.
a squash,
It was-
and
It was entertaining though. There was a couple of things
Yeah.
that like
I gotta lie,
Oh-
Jay giving everybody the super kick at the end.
Mhm.
That was
oh yeah,
I was like,
absolutely. That was phenomenal.
it was
But
good.
before his super kick party, KO had his stunner party
The
before
stunner
he got
party,
eliminated. And then Otis had me rolling, bro. I think it was like right off the bat in the beginning of the match when Otis gets tagged in, Matt Riddle comes in. Matt Riddle, trying to work this guy over.
Yeah.
He can't really figure him out, and Otis is like, "Oh yeah, bro! Oh yeah, bro!" I was in tears. I had to rewatch it again. He was like, "Oh yeah, bro!"
And honestly, it made Otis look pretty good too in this match.
I think
like, it really did.
Otis was able to shine in this, and at first when I was watching SmackDown and we talked about this, how Adam Pearce is just like, "Hey, I want you on the Survivor Series team, so you're on the Survivor Series team." Everyone else had to qualify except for Otis, so I was kind of a little but he definitely had his shine in that match.
And then
I
even
definitely
Otis had his moment. He was getting everybody to suplex.
Yep.
Yes, even when he threw Keith Lee over his head, I popped.
Oh,
bro.
That was so good.
No, he definitely did great. I expected Rollins to be the last one there, but he was the first one there, so I was kind of upset.
Yeah, that was kind of shocking that he just sacrificed himself.
I was like, bro, you're goofy for that. You goofy ass.
But I like it. You know what? It's just stuff. I don't know. I'll wait and see how it turns out, but I have faith in it.
I also loved just like the announcers when Strowman went under the bottom rope and everybody knew it was coming. Just like the announcers, I was like, "Here we go!"
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. When he steamrolled them, I actually have that written down here too. It was hilarious. I enjoyed it though, and I also liked the story that they did where it was just Jay by himself, 1-on-5. Like, and then it's like I expected him to get at least a couple eliminations, but him even fighting off all of them by himself and still losing, you kind of have it in the back of your head, like, damn, even though he was by himself, like Roman's still not
And
that
also,
like
mind you, Jay went against out of the 4 of the 5, they were all main event title holders.
right. They
So
were,
that kind of helps Jay out look a little bit better too.
yeah. He held his own for a little bit, but
Yeah.
obviously, even though he still put up a fight and he loses, you already know Reigns is gonna be like, you lost, which is exactly what happened,
Yeah.
later on. But we'll get to that later.
I think everybody on SmackDown expected to get an elimination. I just don't think they expected it to be theirs. Thank you for laughing at Martel.
That was good.
All right. So are we done with that match for now?
Yes.
Are we giving ratings for this or no?
I
I don't
didn't.
think we really need to.
I didn't think up a rating. I
just thought it was good. I was interesting.
I find it very arbitrary.
Yeah, it was just entertaining. That was pretty much it.
To rate matches. I think if it's a good match, it's fine to say that.
Our ratings is like if you're entertained by it, honestly. Yeah. And I was entertained.
Right.
Yep.
Either I liked it or I didn't.
Yeah, I was something.
Yeah, if you didn't turn off the pay-per-view
was a good start
after that match, I think it's okay.
I think we're fine with that match.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else have any thoughts on that match, or can we move on?
Oh, I did like the celebration. How everybody was all buddy at the end.
Yes, right. It was like
it came together.
I thought Braun and Sheamus were gonna start banging, and they were like, you know what? Come here.
Yeah.
It was nice because AJ finally realized that as long as he doesn't say he's the captain, people won't get mad.
Right. I really thought that AJ was gonna be the demise of the team. Because he was always.
We all thought that. I mean, we talked about that Friday. Like we talked about how this team was going to be completely dysfunctional if AJ Styles didn't stop calling himself the captain.
Right. Right. I think we're good for the next match.
Okay, so the next match was the Street Profits versus the New Day. So I will be the first to admit that I was completely wrong about how this match was going to go.
Oh man.
Who won the prediction for this one?
But it was way more competitive than.
It was me.
It was.
It was me and Joe.
No, it was you and Martel.
I knew it. I forgot that I even guessed.
It was you and Martel. Joe and I thought the New Day was going to take it.
And you know what? Because we talked about this too in the predictions. Exactly what we talked about is what happened.
Yep.
Where, New Day was going to take that loss to the young guys, and then who was going to be right there waiting for them? Hurt Business.
Yep.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't work out so well either.
I had high hopes for that.
So we're gonna talk. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Well, probably an hour. Joe, do you want to say anything about how you and I were both wrong about this?
I mean, I thought it made sense in one, but I like the match. I thought it was entertaining. I was harping last time we talked. I was harping a lot on tag team wrestling and how important it is to me. I think kind of bring it back. So I think this is a step in the right direction.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought that the more I thought about it, the more I thought it could go either way. I still thought, for the reasons that I explained on Friday, that the New Day were going to take it. I'm not at all sad that the Street Profits won. They're a phenomenal team, really are.
Same here.
I could watch Montez Ford do that frog splash on a loop all day long.
Right?
Incredibly entertained.
Yes. Best frog splash.
Even his promo before the match was fantastic. It got me hyped for the match.
Absolutely. That was the first thing I wrote down was the fiery promo from the Profits.
Oh,
I was like, I looked at I was like, my hairs are standing up. It was
if you guys want to know, how important the Street Profits are to WWE, you need look no further than their action figures are about to come out.
Mm-hmm.
They are getting elite figures. and they're both getting elite figures in the same series.
And I think Bianca too, right? Or
And
is that a
yeah.
separate series?
And that is incredibly impressive, because in terms of action figures, they're a relatively new team. It takes about 9 months to make an action figure. So,
Right.
the fact that they put them into development when they did, it means they put them into development before things really started blowing up for them.
Right.
So that's an incredible leap of faith on the part of Mattel and WWE.
Yeah. I'm happy they're on SmackDown. We get more time on TV than on Raw.
So here are
Definitely.
my notes about this this match. I thought that that it was amazing that they worked on his. I thought the story was amazing that they worked on Montez's midsection, and so he got up to do the frog splash, and he did the frog splash, but
Couldn't capitalize.
he couldn't capitalize, and Kofi was able to kick out. And I thought it was great that they made a point of connecting those dots for
Right.
everyone.
Am I the only one that would like to see Montez use the Trouble in Paradise a little bit too?
He did a pretty
that was
cool
a
a
big
job.
little
surprise.
homage to Kofi. Like I was pretty shocked when I saw him do
That
it.
was a
Yeah.
big surprise. And then of course the finish is a blockbuster on Xavier Woods after Dawkins blind tags.
God, that blockbuster though, man.
Which was
Montez.
yeah.
I could see that being
Big
your new finish. I could
Yeah,
definitely see that being.
That's so good.
It was
I
awesome.
would love to see a triple threat Angelo Dawkins versus Keith Lee versus Bobby Lashley.
That would be 3 beefy guys. That would be pretty cool.
I think that would be
say about this?
That would be a
this
pretty
match?
amazing match.
I really liked, because obviously everybody loves New Day. They're one of the most popular, one of the most decorated tag teams. But I love that they kind of had like a heelish tendency to them in this match. With their shit talking, with the way they
Yeah,
were
Kofi
really...
with the cup on the side, remember?
Yo, when he had the cup,
When he
Yeah.
kicked it, yeah.
he was like, "There's nothing even in it." Kicked it. I was like, "Oh, that's some heel shit right there." And definitely, like you said,
I
Rob.
will say, oh, my bad.
Go ahead,
go ahead,
bro.
Joe.
Go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say. Go ahead. But I have to say, your audio
I
is a
jump
little
in.
weird.
I think I have
Yeah, your audio is all choppy.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
What happened?
Okay.
He's trying to fix it.
Is it better?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I tried to jump in, but like I'm so far behind it, like I get caught in the crossfire.
Go ahead, bro.
But yeah, real quick, I'll say, Woods' goatee is very heelish, so there's definitely something there.
I mean, it might be time for a change for New Day.
Yeah, but then what happens?
Big E?
Right, but then what happens with Big E? Because even though they're split up, you saw them. They came out together, and I thought their Gears of War attire was so cool.
Yep.
I was like, "Yo, that's dope." That was
I don't know. New Day need to stop doing this big ring attire. I think they have a loss record with every time they come up with something special.
Probably.
They lost at WrestleMania, being Super Saiyans.
Right. It was just weird to me how, Big E came out with them for this match, but didn't they just go over to SmackDown the other day and they weren't even like near each other? I just thought that was weird.
I think it was just to promote Gears, honestly.
Yeah. I liked, like you said, Rob, I also had written down about, they really New Day really worked Montez's cord pretty good. Like their tag team, they're a really good team, despite what anybody else thinks. The New Day has their place in the division, and they really showed it in this match. And then it was just crazy. When I saw that frog splash, I thought it was over. I was like, "Oh, they beat him." Couldn't capitalize. They did too much damage to that midsection. I was like, "Oh, see, storytelling at its finest." I love it.
And Montez did a phenomenal job of selling that too.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I mean, let's not
Fantastic.
let's not belittle that. Montez
Honestly,
did
man, I really believe Montez is
unbelievable
going to
job
be a
of selling
huge
that.
star in the future.
I agree.
His
I mean,
facials.
he just really. I mean, if you want to say he's too skinny, okay, but other than that, he has every single thing a superstar needs.
Right. I agree. Athleticism,
Those
charisma.
promos,
He could
oh my
talk.
god.
Bro, he can talk. And the thing is, remember how I was talking to you guys about how Carmella is relatable to me because of how she dresses, how she talks. Not
Yeah.
current Carmella, but when
Yeah,
she had
no.
her Jordans on, when she was, the princess of Staten Island.
I
Like
don't
I know,
know, Martel, you
I
got the
know
hair
girls.
going.
Like, you feel me?
Yeah.
So like, Tez and Dawkins, they're the same. Like I know, like I talk like them. They talk like me. They talk like I know people like them that you be like, yo, bro, like you know what I'm saying? Like,
I know what you mean, man.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
That's pretty much all my friends in high
connect with
school.
Joe, can you
Like-
tilt your camera a little so we can see more of your face?
Yeah, no, I'm just slouching. I got bad posture.
Oh,
Terrible posture.
public service announcement.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Anything else you guys want to say about this match?
Nah, like I said, man, it was one. I think it was probably one of my favorite matches of the night.
I completely agree. I'm torn
Definitely.
between this one and another match.
Yeah,
but
really,
we'll get to that
really
other
well
match
done.
later. I love their embrace after too.
Yeah.
That embrace after, I was just like, that's
I can't wait to see more of the
spectacular.
Street Profits, honestly, going forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna move to the next match. The next match was Sami Zayn versus Bobby Lashley, and again, my notes simply read pretty much exactly what I expected.
I mean, you ain't wrong, Rob. You ain't wrong. It's pretty much what we expected.
Oh yeah, no,
But man, Sammy is so good.
it was so. They could have called this match. They could have called this match Ragdolling 101.
No.
Oh my god, man.
No, give my boy credit because you guys said he was getting squashed. He didn't get squashed.
He
was
lasted
doing
a good
his
time.
best. He
Yeah.
was doing his best to outsmart all of them because going into the match, we had no idea that the rest of the Hurt Business was going to be out there. I assumed it was just going to be the two of them. But now with the other three in there, yeah, because they're not always.
Have you not been paying attention to Hurt Business matches lately?
Well, I mean, yeah, but this is Survivor Series. It's different. So it's like when they were all out there, you can see Sammy talking shit to them. Like there was this one where he,
Sammy
he's in the
and Corey
roast.
were just killing it, like compensating with each other.
Yeah, he looked at Sammy looked at Shelton. He was like, "You're not intimidating me, Shelton." Wow, yeah. I was crying, bro. I was like, "Yo, he's really trying to poke these guys," but obviously, he was doing it to see if one of them was gonna hit him.
Yeah,
so he could just take that easy win. Yeah, so I was waiting for somebody to knock him out so I could get that. Yeah, he was.
Did you notice, by the way, how WWE just sort of slipped that rule in? Like
about what?
About interference on the outside. Like one day it wasn't a disqualification, and the next day it was.
It's annoying. It really is because they flip flop it a lot, especially on like the last, not recently, but a lot of Raws where somebody could just come to the ring and it's a disqualification. That's neither here nor there. That's a whole different. But nobody hit him. Huh?
What'd you say, Mike?
No, go ahead, Joe. It's all you.
I was just saying that's some WWE flip flop and like shit they do. Like that's just like the unwritten rules.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
For sure.
But that one is written, but like it just came out of nowhere.
It was a written rule for a while, and then they just sort of let it go.
It's like they do. I mean, they do what they want, right? They just do whatever they want. Whatever they need to fit the story that they're trying to tell, that's what they're gonna do. But whatever.
Yeah, but oh man, at the end of the match, when Sammy tripped over MVP, I was dying, man.
Did you see that? Did you see that?
Then you got Corey on the commentary.
He tripped me.
Yo, he's hilarious. He's entertaining. Like I'm hoping. Like obviously, this was a strong win for Lashley, But I'm hoping they give him like a good feud this Friday. Like start him off, whether it be like Daniel Bryan or who. I mean, who really else do they have?
I think Jay needs to start going for the title now.
Yeah, we'll get to him. We'll get to him later.
Jay keeps coming up because Jay's just that.
Yeah,
Oh, can I also say this real quick? That U.S. title, oh my God, it just keeps looking better and better every single time I see it. Especially when Bobby Lashley has it.
And he's like, you know, he makes it work. Yeah, absolutely.
Yo, he makes that title.
He needs to defend it more though.
That's okay.
Because there's no.
Well, you tell him that, Martel.
Yeah, you tell him.
I mean, it's cool that he has it. He looks great with it.
We'll get you his email address, and you can send him an email. Hey, Bobby,
yo, bro,
defend that more.
Defend your title more,
Bob,
man.
Yo, Bob, come on, bro. You know, you gotta fight some dudes. You
know, I like the whole hurt business thing, and WWE just needs to start pushing these guys forward.
They need to be unstoppable.
Yeah,
like, point blank.
The way they were beating Retribution, they just need to keep that going for like now. They'll go after New Day. I wouldn't even mind if Bobby's just like, here, you take the U.S. title. I'm going after something bigger.
I mean,
who's going to beat Bobby?
McIntyre.
But he has the title. So you want a title for title? That'll be actually pretty good.
I mean, yeah, that would be cool.
So Drew's got another shoulder.
Yeah, he's got two big ass meaty shoulders.
Maybe Sheamus can carry his other title.
I'm really interested in seeing where that whole Sheamus thing goes, but we'll get to that that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Sheamus is going to end up in a kilt.
Kilt versus kilt.
Oh man.
Maybe there'll be a sword fight.
That would be dope.
No, I'm kidding, Martel. I'm kidding.
No, come on. That's some WWE shit right there. You telling me they won't do that?
Yes,
that was the one
he
did the strap a couple
years ago. Yeah. Oh man.
Knowing Vince, he'll have the graphic people turn the swords into lightsabers.
Now I'm into that.
Anything to get Joe to watch Raw.
Give me the lightsaber action.
Right? Anything to get Joe to watch is I'm for.
I would watch.
Be a lightsaber battle. It'll be a lightsaber battle inside the Elimination Chamber.
All right. What about anything else for that match? The only thing more I had was that I liked the fact that at least Sammy got some type of offense. It wasn't just a complete like beat down like we thought it would. He tried his best to outsmart the other guys, but
I like the fact that Sammy racked up a lot of frequent flyer miles from being thrown all over the ring by Bobby Lashley.
Come on, bro. That's my boy, man. That's my boy. Hey, that's it. That's him right there, right? No, wait. My boy right here. My boy. Hey, my boy Sam got beat by this guy right here.
So
I ain't gonna lie, that was probably the most entertaining match of the night for me.
So yeah, I agree.
So officially on the predictions, Martel, you and Joe got that wrong.
Damn, son. I mean, I knew I was gonna be wrong. I was just like, you know what? Let me just see, because he could pull a fast one.
Joe, I knew Martel was a Sammy mark, so I knew he was gonna pick Sammy. I'd like to know what your thought process.
Sammy
was.
mark. I would say I'm the same. I love Sammy.
Yeah, but really, in your head, you thought that Sami Zayn was gonna beat Bobby Lashley?
It was all hopeful dreams.
I was gonna say.
I love Sammy too. I think he deserves better.
He did good though. That was Sami Zayn's character perfectly.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what I was about to say too. He has this personality about him that you want to. He's like, you want to punch this guy in the face.
Oh, say you want
why
to
not
slap
take
him?
advantage of it? Right? Why not take advantage of it? Like, put him in feuds with guys that people like. I'm not saying put him against like Apollo Crews or like no disrespect to him either, but like you got to get somebody that people like they stand behind this person. For him to come talk shit and it's like, yo, this guy will never shut up, bro. But
Well,
he's
didn't
great
put
in the
him-
ring too.
They didn't put him in a match with a guy that people like.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what you get when you get the whole heel versus heel dynamic. But I'm talking about like from this point on, like after he takes this loss, let's see what excuses he has on Friday, and let's see who's gonna come out and shut him up and say, "Well, you lost. Regardless, you lost. You let SmackDown down."
I always find it.
down.
I always find it interesting when they do those heel versus heel matches because honestly, the outcome that most people are hoping for is that the Earth just opens and swallows both of them. And we never
Right.
see them
I don't
again.
think it ever works.
All I gotta say is I hope it's not Kevin Owens.
It's
that
hard to
comes
tell
out.
a story like
Joe, go ahead.
Oh no, my Wi-Fi is bad. I gotta get that fixed. I keep messing everything up. I'm just saying that heel versus heel is so hard to tell a story because it's so deferred unless there's like a piece there that's not normal. But
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Right. I very much prefer a face versus face rather than a heel versus heel because, like you said, it's harder to tell a story between two heels. I mean, unless you're Jericho and MJF, but that's a different story. But if it's like a face versus face, you could always.
There
go
was
back
a story
to, like,
there. That's the thing.
What?
No, there was a story there. There wasn't really a story.
No, yeah, the story was, Bobby Lashley needed to work for a few minutes, so Sami Zayn happened to be in the ring.
Right. Are we good on this?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I think we're fine.
Yeah.
I would also like to add that I think it's so sick that Lashley has the full Nelson as a finisher now. It reminds me of the Master Lock, and when he was the first person to break it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, you know what? Speak of that, he has one of the best spine busters. It reminds me so much of Farouk.
Right? That one-handed
God.
one?
Yeah, man.
Oh my
It's a
God. I
double
feel like they're
good.
gonna. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Or who else does that? Damn. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, everybody who came after Arn Anderson learned it from Arn Anderson, so.
Nah, man, that Farouk spine buster, that's a whole different animal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because there are guys that still use Arn's variation of the spine buster. Like Bobby Roode has a killer one.
Yeah.
Triple H
Triple
used to
H has
use
a
it.
good one. Triple H. Batista
That was
kind
always
of. Yeah. But then there's like Lashley, he gets height on you and just slams you right straight
you down with that one
like,
arm.
Yep.
Oh, David Otunga.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Objection.
Bro, I was watching TV with my wife the other day, and I saw David Otunga. I said, "Babe, he used to be a wrestler." You know, it says he's still signed to the company.
Yeah,
I think he's actually a legal consultant for them now.
I hope so, because he was terrible in the ring. He was terrible on commentary. No disrespect
He's great in the courtroom.
Hey, see, that's where they use his tools. Yeah. Anyway, next
All right,
up.
so we'll put this one to bed. Next match is speaking of face versus face matches. Next match is the women's title.
Sorry to cut you off. Before we get into that match, did you happen to get down that promo right before it with Reigns and Heyman and Usos?
Yeah.
Can we talk about that real quick, or do
Sure.
you want to save that for later?
No, we can talk about that if you. I mean, it's a very short promo, but
I just thought it was like. I feel like it furthered their story. What the hell happened to my boy?
I mean, it is one of the things. It is one of the situations that makes me think about Jimmy Uso and what's going to happen with Jimmy Uso, because Jimmy was clearly much more upset by the treatment of the two of them than Jay was.
Right, absolutely. So for those that are watching this that don't know what happened in the segment, I have it written down here where right, you should have watched. Basically Jay's with his brother Jimmy outside of Roman's his locker room. Heyman comes out with Roman. And Jay's basically like my team wasn't on the same page. You know, it was just being by myself. And Reigns is like, I don't want any excuses, you know. And Jimmy's like, bro, we don't got to take this, you know. Let's go, come on. And as they're about to walk away, Reigns is like, no. You stay here. You could go. Ain't nobody asked you to be here. You could go, but you're staying here, right? See, I'm trying to do my best to talk like that.
Don't worry.
But you know, I lost my place. So Reigns is telling Jay, like, listen, I don't want any excuses. You lost, which is what we knew was gonna happen, you know.
Yeah.
Even though my boy's back. Who the hell is that on his thing?
That's a football player.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Anyway, so he's telling him, like, you know, regardless of the fact, you lost. And
there you are again.
What's up, Joe? I'm going over the promo between the Usos, Reigns, and Heyman right now. So he's telling him, like, you know, you lost because you couldn't keep your team in check. You know, so he's like,
also besides that, he's telling him, like, they didn't fear you. That's why they don't respect you.
They didn't.
That's why I want to see what's going to happen on Friday.
Yeah.
Right, and because they don't respect you, they don't respect me. If they don't respect me, they don't respect the bloodline. So he's like, you know what? Get your ass out of here. Get out of my arena. Right. Which is obviously, you know, he's leaving. He's going. He's leaving the building for the rest of the night.
Yeah, for the night.
This whole promo had me like, oh, it had me right there because it's like
Roman
Jimmy's like,
is just killing it with these promos right now.
Yes, bro. And Jay too. Don't sleep on Jay Uso, bro.
Jay is killing it as well.
Jay Uso has the potential to break off into one of the biggest. I wouldn't say the biggest stars, but like he's on his way to a singles run. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I would love for him and Sammy to go at it in the future.
Right.
Yeah, Heyman is playing a big part in Roman and Jay's promo experience.
Yes.
Right. I love it.
I mean, you can see that. So can we go on to the next match now?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we were talking about face versus face. So now we have Asuka versus Sasha Banks. Face champion versus face champion. Is anybody surprised by the result?
You want to see my notes? So this is like my notes for all the other matches, right? You know how I read a lot, whatever. Wait.
See? They disappear.
You can't see because of your clipping.
It's the Undertaker.
Oh, there you go. Right. This is what I got for Sasha and Asuka. That's it. It was a great match.
Great match.
Anytime you get Sasha and Asuka in one match in the ring together, it's always going to be a banger. That's
so do you want to hear something really funny? The first two words I wrote were the same two words.
It's a no-brainer. It's like before when we were talking about Profits and New Day, how I was torn between two matches of my match of the night. It was between them and Sasha and Asuka. I can't choose.
You know what the thing that struck me with the Asuka Sasha Banks match is it was a women's wrestling match.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It was chain wrestling. It was near falls. It was high risk. It was submissions. Like
it was physical.
You could possibly think of.
These girls were beating the shit out of each other.
Yes.
And whether they were working it was like they made it look like they were really beating the shit out of each other.
This is probably not even going to be their best match.
No.
It's probably not.
Is, like, because I would love to see them face again in the future.
Like I said, anytime you get Banks and Asuka in the ring, sign me up, bro. They're two top. Like we get Asuka and Sasha, and then we get, you know, the Lanas and Dana Brooks and Mandy. And no disrespect to those girls, but it's like there's such a gap in the work between these women. It's like they can easily build stars out of these girls. They can easily build a star out of Mandy Rose and whoever else. But it's
we're gonna talk about Lana a lot in the next
one,
hour or so.
There's gonna be a huge contrast between this match we're talking about now and the next one, but we'll get there.
Yes.
I liked I'll let you guys
go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead, Joe.
one thing I liked about we get into like how technical it was. I like a good technical match. You don't see that anymore. I like the storytelling with the arm and Sasha working on the arm. I thought that was great because it sets up the finisher. It sets up everything. So that's one thing I just like storytelling in the match. That's one thing you don't see a lot, and especially with women's wrestling. And I think they did it. I think they did it well here.
Oh my god.
Fantastic point.
I was like that those double knees that Asuka gave to Sasha. Oh my god, bro.
No, I loved when I forgot who put it on first. I think Sasha had her in the bank statement, and somehow she managed to get out, and Asuka had her in her
Asuka
submission.
Yep.
And then they kept like switching, and then Asuka kicked her right in the head. I was like, damn!
Yeah, Chain.
Bro,
love
also
Chain
that
wrestling.
the commentary was really good for this match as well. Like Corey
Yeah.
was doing really good, like
Chain
selling like this whole thing.
chain wrestling like that is very very
You
hard to
never
come
see that
by.
no more.
Especially in the women's division.
And also,
Yeah.
like the thing about Corey, like you were saying, don't forget Corey was the commentator in NXT when both Sasha and Asuka were in NXT. So
Yes.
Corey
I
knows
think
how to
it's
call
perfect.
Asuka matches and how to call Sasha matches. So
Right. I love that aspect of it. I love Corey Graves on commentary because, like you said, he knows half the roster just based off
Yeah.
NXT. So it's like when he was calling takeovers, he was calling, main events in NXT, like he could bring that energy back to the main roster. And he makes Michael Cole look so good or sound
He
so
does.
good because sometimes Michael Cole, he kind of sounds like a dork to me, Oh my, it's boss time, and I'm like, bro, like, come on.
Yeah, we don't need that. We're good.
But when Corey Graves said it, I was like, oh, it's boss time.
you got to remember when.
At the beginning, did you you heard what he said about that when he said boss time?
Yeah, he goes,
Philip
I'm
goes, how much did
congratulating.
Philip goes, how much did Michael Cole pay you? He goes, $50 to say it.
And I think Byron said it's a good deal or something like that.
Yeah.
That's tremendous, bro. I did not peep that, bro.
But did you hear Corey Graves is like, I'm contractually obligated to tell you.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, man.
Oh my god, I have to go back. I definitely missed
so
that.
funny. I like Tom
That's
Phillips a lot. I think
Tom
Phillips
Phillips,
is great. I mean,
Can
and he's young
WWE just
too.
give this man his respect? Because they keep taking him off.
I think
Right?
for having to step into the big job on a moment's notice, he's really taken
Like he had to take over for Morrow on SmackDown all of a sudden, and then on Raw he had to take over for
Vic Joseph.
Vic Joseph. I was like, let's leave Phillips on commentary. Stop taking him off already.
Right. I feel like he has a lot of potential to be a good or a great commentator.
I could see him as the next Michael Cole. Well, not as cheesy as Michael Cole, but the next long-term commentator for WWE.
I think with Cole and Corey Graves, they finally found their sort of, obviously not going to be near the, that sort of synergies. That sort of synergy is never going to come again. But I think Cole and Graves are sort of this generation JR King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in the Undertaker segment, did you hear what they were saying? Did you catch it? At one point, Cole says I think it was at 12 or something. At WrestleMania 12.
Oh yes. And
then Corey's like, no, I know it's not that right. Then later he goes, I googled it. Yeah, it is 12.
Can I just tell you? that when Corey Graves said it was 11 and he was on the air, I literally was shouting at my TV screen, "No, it wasn't."
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That's why I think
I was like, Michael Cole is right. Together. It was 12.
So good together.
See, they mesh well. I do like the team of Cole and Graves, and I like that they're a 2-man booth on SmackDown.
Yeah,
man, Corey's everybody's actually really good.
Corey's fantastic.
Do you guys remember
he has a lot of personality to him? Go ahead, bro.
That thing. Remember when Tom Phillips was in that that scandal, and there was like that picture of him. every time I think of Tom Phillips, I think of that picture. I gotta find the picture. Hold up. If you guys know what I'm talking about, if I find the picture.
I think I may
show me, 'cause
remember.
I don't know.
It's been a while.
Tom
Every
Phillips was
time
in a
every time
scandal.
I think of Tom Phillips, I see his face and I think of like.
Like in real life.
Oh, maybe it wasn't him. Was it? Yeah, because like he cheated on his wife or something, and they got the text, and then there's just a
Corey.
photo of his face every time I hear his voice.
You talking about Corey Graves?
No, it was. I found it. It was Tom Phillips.
Todd did something like that similar.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, Tom.
I gotta find the photo. It's so funny.
I thought my boy was cookie cutter. You know what I'm saying? Guess not.
So we go. Anything else on the Sasha versus Asuka?
Yeah, I will. So I did want to mention one more thing. Were you guys surprised at all that no Carmella?
I was actually shocked. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very surprised.
Yeah,
I was actually kind of happy about how they finished it.
Right, because it's like it would have been one thing. Like if she had made Asuka tap, I would have been a little like, all right, that's cool. At least she won.
Right.
But I think it doesn't.
It sets up
Asuka
something for the
much.
future too, you know.
Right. It's like, oh, remember last time? Like you snuck me, but it's gonna be different this time. You know.
I thought for sure Carmella was gonna attack Sasha. She was backing up the ramp because Carmella made a point of saying, "Don't turn your back."
Right, yeah. And every week for the last 2-3 weeks,
every time Sasha's had her back turned, Carmella's attacked her. So as Sasha's backing up the ramp, I'm thinking to myself, all right, so here she comes. Okay, here she comes.
And
okay, she's almost at the entrance. And then Sasha walks out, and I'm like, what the?
I don't know. But you know what? I'm also kind of happy they didn't do nothing to interfere in the match.
Right. I didn't want
but like, how does Carmella justify it now? Because Carmella's whole thing was, every time you turn your back on me, I'm gonna be there. And then last night, she wasn't. So it's like,
I mean, I guess we'll find out on SmackDown, I guess.
Yeah, like I don't understand. That's the only thing that confused me.
My screen is gonna go blank, but keep going. I'm listening.
Okay, so we'll put this match to bed and move on to the next one.
Yeah, I could talk about this match all day.
So in terms of predictions, just to run it for everybody, Martel and Joe got this right, and
yes, sir.
And I got it wrong.
Yeah.
Say, Rob, we were thinking too heavy into the Carmella.
Yeah. I still think it should have happened, but
yeah, it should have. At some point, it should happen.
All right, so next up is the Women's Survivor Series 5-on-5 match, and this wow, the two Survivor Series matches could not have been different. So whereas the Raw one was whereas the men's one was a complete squash for Raw, the women's one was a little more competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my God, is Bayley entertaining?
Yo, Bayley. I didn't hate Bayley, but I was never a fan of the hugging Bayley.
No.
You know, I mean, I get what it was.
At one point I was, but I was like, it's kind of getting old already.
It got when she was in NXT, it was fine. I was with it. But then they just played it out on the main roster, and it was getting stale. Like when she won the belt for the first time, it did not do anything for me. You know, somebody like her, like a true baby face, it's supposed to mean something when they win their first main title, and it didn't. It was just like,
I forgot she was a champion when she won it.
I will say I was always so happy to see those inflatable things somewhere other than outside a car dealership.
Oh. No, Byron was good at the.
I used to love that. The Bailey buddies.
The Bailey, but he would do like the inflatable, the fast talk. I don't know how to do it. I can't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, were you here listening to her when she was coming out? How she kept pointing at the captain and how she's the only one that had fireworks.
Captain. She looked at Liv and she was like, yes, I think that she was like, do they have
Did you have fireworks? No.
No. I'm the captain, so I have fireworks. And then when Liv came out, she was like, yo, you got no, not Liv. Bailey, she was like, oh, you look, I'm the captain, and Liv is like, oh yeah, nah. I was cracking up.
So of course, after all that bravado, Bailey is the first to go.
Yeah, that was that was. I was
I was
disappointed by
tired.
that.
Okay,
but I was
okay,
okay
Mike.
with it.
Which is more humiliating, that Bailey was the first to go, or that she was eliminated by Peyton Royce?
Oh my god.
No,
man.
no, don't do that. I think
Oh
it's
man.
perfect that Peyton,
I know.
because
In your eyes, she's
before Peyton,
iconic.
before Peyton eliminated Bailey, which I love, they
Oh, they
had a
did
great
superplex
spot.
from the
The
outside.
superplex, that was a fantastic
Yeah.
spot, especially for
Yeah.
Peyton, because Peyton doesn't do spots like that. She doesn't do high risk stuff. So for her to take Bailey off the top and on the other girls, I thought that was awesome. And then for her to pin Bailey, a former champion, like Bailey solidified right now. Like
Yeah.
she's in the conversation with Sasha, and
I hope she is. Like I hope to see her get a like a push from this. But they're gonna
bro,
push into her tag team.
she just had a longer than 1 year reign with the SmackDown title. There's not a lot of
I know,
people that
but
can say that.
I'm just saying Peyton's on Raw.
Oh, you mean Peyton?
Yeah, Peyton's on Raw, so I don't think they're gonna do much. I hope I'm wrong.
Right. No, I hear what you mean. That was my point too. I'm hoping that her beating Bailey and doing this spot, I hope there's things for her, because
I hope she betrays. I hope she attacks Lacey Evans. Let's get it over with.
that bro. Why are you gonna split up the Iconics just to put her with somebody else? The Iconics are hilarious. They're like so annoying that like I couldn't wait to see what they were gonna do.
Oh my
next.
god! You know what? She has new music, right, Peyton?
Yes.
Yeah, I love the Iconics.
You know what?
music.
We forgot to talk about. I don't know. I don't watch Raw. I don't watch Raw.
Yo, that was
Hold
my
up.
shit, bro.
I don't watch Raw, but was that Keith Lee's
Martel, if I
debut?
ever hear you make those noises again, I'm going to call 911.
Good, bro. If we continue doing this show, I'm gonna do much weirder things. I promise. Yes, Keith Lee debuted new music.
Oh, we completely forgot about Keith
We
Lee's new
definitely
music.
skipped over that. We definitely skipped
Oh my
over
god!
that, and it
All
was
right,
fantastic.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to this match.
So Peyton gets eliminated by, Peyton eliminates Bailey with the Deja Vu. Then Natalia eliminates Peyton with the Sharpshooter. Lacey eliminates Natalia with the Woman's Right. And wow, did she clock her too?
Yeah.
Oh, she knocked the bottom half of her face off.
Man.
Poor Natalia.
Also, I'd like to also point out that, with Lana.
I want to talk about the
match.
I want to talk about the Lana thing in a minute.
All right, all right.
Let me go through the rest of the eliminations, and then we'll talk about Lana, because Lana was really the story of this whole match.
Yeah.
Ruby Riott is eliminated after Shayna Baszler puts her in the Karabuta clutch. Lacey Evans is eliminated by Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan is eliminated by Nia with a Samoan drop. Shayna Baszler is eliminated by DQ, which is just ridiculous. So Shayna Baszler. And then finally, the
only way they're going to beat her.
Bianca Belair and Nia are both eliminated by countout, which means the sole survivor of the match is Lana, who has been standing in the corner since the first 5 minutes of the match.
I have to admit, I didn't see that coming. I mean,
I thought she was going to go through a table and just forgotten about.
I had flashbacks to my parents punishing me when I was a kid. Go stand in the corner.
No, I felt bad because the point I was about to make was the fact that in the beginning of the match, before Nia was like, "Yo, go stand on the stairs and stay there till I tell you." Before she did that, earlier in the night, they had like a little segment in the back where all the girls, were together, and Lana was like in the back, and they're like, "Listen, nobody's to tag this bitch in. She's not getting in this match at all." But
so she tagged herself in.
Tagged herself in, and she put in some work. I was actually kind of surprised. She did pretty good for herself. But then when they got her, when they tagged back in, they was like, "Listen, you're gonna stand over there, and you're not gonna leave until I tell you to."
I just thought that
Backfired.
because like she goes to get out of the ring, and they're like, no, go stand on the steps.
Mm-hmm.
And
Stay
don't-
over there.
You know what? There's
Stay.
actually some pretty good moments in this match, like the Riot Squad attacking Nia Jax.
Yes,
Yeah, I thought that was some pretty good tag team right there.
The best thing about Lana was like she's sitting there on she's standing there on the steps and she's watching the match as if like she's actually watching the match.
She looked like she was about to cry. I felt so bad
Like,
for her.
It's amazing. Like the amount of emotion that she was able to show just by like standing still there on the stairs is incredible. She may not be a great wrestler, but she's a great entertainer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah,
I
definitely.
think they're gonna use that to their advantage.
Oh,
Like, I feel like
tonight.
the point of
Oh my God,
I feel
tonight.
like the point of them having her go through so many tables every week obviously is because of, you know, her husband. But it's slowly turning her into a bigger baby face every week. Especially after last night. Like, you know, who expected her to be the sole survivor? Nobody. So it's like, you know, the
I did.
bullies were like, "Hey,
How
go
dare
stand
you,
in the
Marcel?
corner."
Hold up. How dare
Huh?
you? I expected her to be the sole survivor.
You did.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
How dare you take that away from me?
You know what's
sorry,
really
bro.
funny
I'm
about
sorry.
that, Mike, is you predicted her to be the sole survivor, and yet you picked Team SmackDown.
I know.
How? So how?
Listen. It was two options. I don't know how I got to that.
Wow.
No, the when we get to talking about Raw, there's the bar goes up for Lana even further.
What happened?
We'll tell you when I get to Raw.
Okay.
I literally just said when we get to Raw, the bar goes up for Lana even further, and then you go, well, what happened? I said, I'll tell you when we get to Raw.
My bad.
We're still at Survivor Series.
Are we gonna work Raw into this too?
Mm-hmm.
Screw it. I didn't finish it, but whatever. I'm sure these two didn't watch it. Y'all don't watch Raw.
Yeah, no, I don't watch
But
it.
we'll
No, I don't have time for that. No, if I want to be bored, I got other things to do that'll make me bored for 3 hours.
Yeah. I mean,
boy, right there.
Not for nothing though. Last week was pretty good, and tonight it wasn't bad either. What do you think, Rob?
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
And
Joe, don't fall for it. They have like 2 shows that are good, and
tonight
2
would
months
be
of
Yeah.
bad shit.
and tonight
That happens.
and tonight Martel would be even better if you finished it.
I only had like one match left, maybe. What happened? How many matches after Keith Lee and Bobby Lashley?
There's 2. The Alexa Bliss.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That Firefly Funhouse segment that they did was fantastic.
When we
They
get to
had the
Raw,
frog.
Martel. When we get to
can't
Raw, Martel.
I can't wait to talk about the frog. But okay.
All right.
So the women's match. Let's see if did I have any notes on that. Like what Mike said about the Riot Squad teaming up on Nia Jax, I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah.
But it would have been a little better if Nia sold a little bit for them. I mean,
Yeah, she
obviously
never
they're
sells.
smaller.
Nia doesn't sell for anybody.
Yeah, I know. But,
I
mean,
get
even
hit
though
by a
they're
car, she
smaller
just keep walking.
yeah, even though they are smaller than
Yeah.
her, they were really hitting her with some shit though, like some really good tag teams. What else? Bianca was the MVP of the match, in my opinion.
Of course.
She killed it. She
Amazing.
was
Yeah,
fantastic.
Amazing athlete.
I was expecting her to be the sole survivor. I was like, yo, she got this in the bag. This is gonna boost her. This is gonna push her to the next level. Who am I to think something so great like that, right? Blah blah blah. Forces her own thing. Blah blah blah. Da da da.
They got
you know what?
showing Bianca more on SmackDown.
You know what? One of the things I wrote down was when the way Shayna eliminated Ruby Riott was kind of, I guess, I don't want to say the word clever because it wasn't clever, but I kind of liked it because what happened was she had her in a Kirifuda clutch, but Ruby reverses it where Shayna's shoulders are down for longer than a 3 count, but the referee's distracted. So in the time that she's got Shayna's shoulders down, she's still in the Kirifuda clutch, but she passes
She
out
passed
right
out.
there.
Yep.
Yeah, so she just let her go and then she pinned her. So I was like, okay, that was pretty cool. Yeah, that's about it. We covered everything else.
Yeah, by the way, prediction wise, other than Mike predicting that Lana was going to be the sole survivor, and that Bailey was going to be eliminated first, we all actually got it wrong.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
We all picked SmackDown because we thought that the Raw team was going to fall apart.
For both, too. For both Raw teams as well, because they're both all doing infighting.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So now we move on to the final match of the evening. Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns.
I have no notes for this match. I wrote down nothing, only because I was emotionally invested and I loved it.
I thought it was a fantastic match. I thought it was paced really well. It didn't move too quickly. It didn't move too slowly.
That's a great point, actually, about the pacing.
Thank you, Joe.
Because I thought the same way. I just wanted to say I really like that.
Go ahead, speak more. I want to hear more from you.
Yeah, Joe, go ahead. Speak a little more.
No, I don't want to cut off Rob. I'll go at the end.
No, that's fine. You can go, Joe. This is a 4-way dance, so
4 jobbers. So I want to play off the pacing. I think like match structure is something that I didn't really like. I don't really expect from WWE. You see that in AEW a little bit more, but I think there was a lot of structure in this match, and I like that a lot, especially ending because it's carrying out this great bloodline story. So I really have a lot to say. I like the structure. I thought that was a great way they did it. And I love Roman too. I mean, I'm going to continue to root for him with this title.
I think you can tell when 2 guys that really have a great deal of experience blocking out a match have a match together, and they sit down to block out the match together. The type of quality match that comes out of it is really something special. There are a lot of guys that had that ability. Shawn Michaels had that ability. Steve Austin had that ability. Triple H had that ability. The Undertaker had that ability, where they just know how to tell the story they want to tell. And I don't think Drew had that ability for a while, but once he got it, it was very easy for him to use it, to create some really special matches.
Right. Like you said, once he learned it, like it's like now he gets it. He understands what he needs to do. I feel like he understands his own character now, like where he's supposed to be.
The match with Orton Monday night was phenomenal. With Orton last Monday night was phenomenal.
I think that match on Monday night was better than their first encounter at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I would agree.
I'm not going to compare it to the other 2 matches they had because those were gimmick matches, but by far, like that one match besides the tag team title match carried that Raw.
Yeah,
I think Drew facing Orton has really helped Drew mature more in wrestling.
I mean, I don't think
him going against Orton just helps him so much more.
I think that everybody, if they didn't know before, everybody at this point now knows that Drew McIntyre knows how to wrestle.
Right.
Oh yeah, but he knows how to pace it and tell a story in the match.
Yep.
I thought
he has good facials. Really. He has good facials. Yep. He knows how to sell and register as a big guy, because there's a difference between like Shawn Michaels, Dolph Ziggler selling, and there's a difference between when he does it where it's like, he can take a chop and you'll see it in his face, like, oh, he just chopped me, like, fuck.
When you watch Undertaker wrestle, he really doesn't sell like a lot because he's a big guy, so nobody's as big as him.
Right.
until he faced Kane and Big Show. That's when he sold the most.
I think when it comes to the big guys, when they sell, I think it really depends on who they're in the ring with, because you don't want to see Drew selling for somebody like
Ricochet.
like a Ricochet. Depends.
No,
Like a
be
Drew
honest, Ricochet.
Gulak. Like Drew Gulak, we already know how good he is, but in terms of the character that he's playing now, Drew Gulak is not gonna make McIntyre sell.
No.
But if you put him in
that's
the
what I'm
ring
saying.
with let's say
For a
Kurt
bigger
Angle
guy,
in
it's
his
hard
prime.
to kind of justify a sell if you're not as big as him or bigger.
Right.
Right. Like
Yeah.
when I think of a bigger guy facing somebody smaller, I always think of Kurt Angle, because Kurt Angle could go with anybody bigger, smaller, fatter, skinny, So it depends on who you're in the ring with to really
Right.
You got, because at the same time Drew has to protect himself as a big guy. Like he's not just gonna sell for anybody, or else he's gonna look foolish,
Well, and so speaking of Undertaker and not selling, like for those like you guys have to remember when the Undertaker came in, his whole thing was he's not human.
No, that's why I said for like
when the Undertaker,
that's why Kane came.
Yeah, like when the Undertaker had his first, when the Undertaker had that first Survivor Series match, he eliminated the entire other team himself.
Yeah.
Like they had no offense against him. Nothing they did hurt him. They couldn't like.
I know, but you know what I'm saying about like not character, but how big he is. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't make sense for
like in
a
ring
small guy to like punch Undertaker and Undertaker sell it like he just got knocked out.
Yeah, like the Undertaker versus Rey Mysterio or something.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're not gonna get a drop kick and you're not gonna see Undertaker bump for just anybody. Like no.
Yeah.
But if it's like Kurt Angle, Kurt Angle is gonna get him. He's gonna chop him down. Like he's gonna get Undertaker on his knees at least. Like a perfect example of that. I don't know if you guys ever watched Angle versus Undertaker No Way Out 2006. That's by far my favorite. I guess match from Kurt Angle and Undertaker separately, because there were points where Undertaker would try to tombstone him, and the next thing you know, Angle is slithering down and he finds his way to get an ankle lock. And I'm like, yo, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's the Undertaker. He just out, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, it depends.
And again, that's another
who
one.
The big guy's going against.
Yeah, that's another one of those, guys that know how to block out matches. Can create those special moments like that you remember. And,
So I thought like
you want to
Drew
go back and watch again.
So well when
like
when Drew was in the match with Roman.
Yeah.
Even like the simple headlocks that Roman was giving him, Drew was doing a good enough job selling that. Like this guy is as equal as me.
There were so many kickouts in that match. I thought Michael Cole was going to have an aneurysm.
Yeah.
That's what you need. These are the two main dogs in the company.
Right.
I absolutely hate it when Brock Lesnar beat Braun Strowman with just one F5.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell is the point of that?
Don't even get me started. Don't even get me fucking started on that. I'm going to start cursing.
Just now.
I gotta watch my F-bombs, but
we should give you an allowance. Like before every show, we'll be like, okay, you can say it 5 times over the course of the next 2 hours.
Oh no! I mean,
we'll put like a little ticker on the screen.
Sometimes I curse without really noticing, but I'm good at watching my Fs, because I feel like I don't like to say too many Fs, especially on something like we're doing now. But I'm gonna say other shit. Like I say shit a lot, but my F-bombs, you're right.
It's like that it's like the episode of South Park where they had the little ticker at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, I gotta watch it. But you made a good point, Mike, where you said, these two are the top alphas in the whole company. Point blank. Lesnar's gone. Cena's gone. Undertaker's gone. Like who's bigger than Roman and Drew right now? You know what I'm saying? Like not even Orton. And I don't know why Orton is here. He shouldn't even be there, because he didn't show up at all on the show. I was so surprised.
Oh yeah, I was actually pretty shocked.
There was no. What's up, Rob?
What I'd like to know is why the graphic says DVD video in the upper corner.
Hey, yo!
Is this old?
Hey, yo! What is this? Somebody made this. I gotta. Nah.
You got a
I
bootleg
should have.
version.
I should have proofed this before. At least I got the.
Yeah,
Undertaker
probably.
I should have proofed it. Like, who even has DVDs anymore? I got Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. Anyway, my point was, there's nobody bigger than Reigns and
Lord.
Drew, so it was like this was the perfect, meathead versus meathead, like champion versus champion. Like this is the end all be all. Who's the top guy in the company? And Reigns showed out, and he showed that he is, in fact, the head of the table,
I would love to
figuratively and
see.
literally.
I would love to see the reactions of either of those gentlemen if you refer to them as a meathead in person.
You know what I mean, though. I
So
was
just
just
going after
saying,
all the big
they're
guys.
big guys. They're huge. You know what I'm saying? They're large. This is what Vince likes. He likes those larger than life characters, and there's not a lot of those anymore. Like, look at half the roster. They don't even hit 6 feet mostly. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of them are smaller. And even the guys that are huge, like Braun Strowman, like, what are you doing with Braun Strowman? What are you doing with
Nothing.
Keith Lee? You know what I'm saying? They're doing right by Drew and Roman right now, and that's why I feel like this was one of the most anticipated matches that I've ever seen.
You know what I
for
like a
anybody.
lot about Drew and Roman is they both earned it. Like they both had to pay their dues and they both
Absolutely.
Yeah.
made their way through whatever was thrown at them to finally
Especially
get
Drew.
to- Yeah.
Especially Drew, yeah.
Especially
Go
Drew.
ahead, Joe. Speak, Drew.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, Drew is like he's the perfect like story of, yeah, he came here, he was the chosen one, and then it just kind of all went downhill, and he had to work his way back up. He reworked through the indies, and he got bigger too. He learned the business a little bit more, and now this second time he definitely deserves it so much more than in the beginning, and he definitely he's making the most out of his opportunity.
Like Drew just
Absolutely.
keeps getting, like, both Roman and Drew. Oh my God, this keep getting better and better every single year.
Yeah,
Bro, don't you? This match made me wish that they were on the same brand, and I wish that they would feud.
Right?
And-
I would love to see these two at WrestleMania.
Because the
that would be
last time they had a feud, like nobody really like they had their big blow off match at WrestleMania. Nobody
Like
really cared
when they had
about
their
it.
feud, it was more like Drew was just he was a meathead muscle guy.
Yeah.
Disgusting
Roman was trying to play
psychopath.
the big dog character. It was corny.
It just didn't, and that was right after Roman had come back from remission too.
Right.
So it was like they threw him in a feud with Drew, and it was cool at first, but it was like their Mania match didn't really like live up to anything really. But now that they're both in two completely different points in their careers at this point, because
This is
that
the first time they
WrestleMania was
actually both
what
have a
2
character.
years ago, right?
And
I
remember,
don't know what happened. No, I was saying that this is like the first time they both have actual characters now.
Yeah.
Not just trying to play a gimmick.
Right.
And remember, it took a little longer than he might have liked, and there were a few stops and starts along the way. But remember, Vince McMahon singled out these two guys as people who were gonna be top guys.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It's hard with that because
I can't
like
give
for
Vince
me,
credit for this because it's like he never
nah, I
wanted
can't
Roman to
either. I
be
can't
heel.
either because exactly
He
that's what I
never
was about to
wanted
say.
Roman to be heel, and he always wanted Drew to be like a meathead muscle guy.
Right. It's like with Roman, it's like I've always thought Roman was great, because he plays that, that superstar, that Cena, that Hogan, you know what I'm saying? Where
Yeah.
they
It
come
don't
in,
fit.
they get an ovation, they take some heat from the heel, and then they come back with their few moves and boom boom pow. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, I always
And it's
thought
like
like
it just
Roman
wasn't
does not
working.
look like that kind of guy. Like
No,
he's not a John Cena.
exactly.
He's not like this
Exactly.
is
He should have came in whooped ass, and left. He could have did that as a babyface, and that would have took him far. But no, he took too much heat in every one of his matches, where he was selling for 85% of the match, the same way Cena would or the same way Hogan would, and it's like, no, bro, like no. That's why fans were clamoring for that heel turn, because they would put an end to that. And look what happened. Vince was so reluctant to turn him heel because he wanted him to be the next superstar.
Mm-hmm.
But look, it works better for Roman because now he looks more comfortable. His promos seem more natural. He's in his element right now, and it's like before he was cutting these generic ass babyface promos. Like, this ain't the '80s, bro. No.
If you think about it, bro, Vince legit has 3 main eventers that could main event WrestleMania right now. Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, and Bray Wyatt.
Yep.
And none of these guys, they all went against Vince's characters. They all created their own kind of style.
I love Bray Wyatt. I love Bray Wyatt. My father-in-law calls me a baby Bray Wyatt. I don't know why. But I don't think he's ready for that yet. I wouldn't put him in that.
Does he think that's a compliment?
I don't know. It's because when I shave my head,
Bray Wyatt is a main eventer, bro.
He is. No,
he
don't
The
get me wrong.
Fiend is the main eventer. Like, he's the one that's carrying Raw and SmackDown by himself, pretty much.
I agree. But
is he saying that because you're super creepy and he doesn't want to be in a darkened room with you or something?
No, Rob. It's because when I shave my head, you know how Bray Wyatt's head is shaved, and then when I get my braids, it looks like, I don't know, whatever. Anyways, I agree. Mike, I agree that Bray Wyatt is definitely holding up a lot of weight on Raw, especially. But I'm saying in terms of main eventing WrestleMania, I don't think he's there yet. You know what I'm saying? I feel like
Fiend is a killer right now.
I feel like
even though they try to kill him again by getting demolished by Seth.
Bro, they try. It's like they have different doors, and every door is like something that's trying to kill Bray Wyatt. Like, why? Let him do his thing.
First, it was Seth beating him in Hell in a Cell, which was the worst mistake.
God, bro, you're gonna make me use
Goldberg beats him.
You're gonna make me use my curse limit. Stop. Stop, bro. But you're right. You're right.
Bray should have been this monster that nobody could beat for at least a little bit longer. But they just like, nah, he gets beaten.
He needed more. First of all, he needs more credible wins. Second, not all his matches were great because it's kind of hard when you go up with someone that doesn't sell. Like, he doesn't sell. Like, it's different. Like, we were talking about Undertaker and how sometimes he doesn't sell. But like I said, it depends on who he's in the ring with. But with Bray Wyatt, throw somebody in with him and they're gonna do their finish and he's getting right back up like a
But think about it. Drew and Roman are right now at a level like Bray. Those are the two ones that can actually show. And Roman did it. He beat him. Remember? He speared the shit out of him as soon as he came back.
Yep.
I thought that was
you have somebody that's legit a top person that could go against him. Not like back then. No offense to Daniel Bryan, but it was him and Finn were not at their level, at his level right now at that moment.
I agree, yes. But I did like those two feuds because
they were good.
Because I feel like they used the Fiend to send off Finn because after he left, he went to NXT. So I thought that was good for what it was. But the Daniel Bryan feud, I thought that was really cool because it was unexpected. Because before he was feuding with Daniel Bryan, who was he feuding with? I think he had just went to SmackDown after the draft or something. And it was like, now they had a story where Bray could go back in time and be like, remember this? Remember when Daniel Bryan was with them? He betrayed them. Like, I loved when he did feuds like that, where he can go back and use it as.
Well, it's like where now in the Firefly Funhouse, they keep flashing back to when Randy Orton burned down the Wyatt compound.
Are they going to start that up again?
I can't wait. Because to me, it seems like Bray Wyatt is leaning towards babyface status.
We have to get to Raw tonight before we can talk about this.
Okay.
True.
But I will say one of my favorite pre-Fiend Bray Wyatt moments is when he faces the Undertaker at WrestleMania, and he goes to do that spider thing, and the
Undertaker sits up.
and the Undertaker sits up, and he just he just crumples to the mat.
Yeah.
I love the reaction. That reaction is just fantastic.
Yeah. Oh.
If I'm not mistaken, was that the year after the streak was broken?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what? I don't know, man. We'll save that Undertaker shit for later. Cause
well, actually, we're about to get to that.
Yeah, right now.
So for Reigns, so back to Reigns and McIntyre, I thought it was a fantastic match, and I loved. I mean, I would have liked there to be a clean finish, but obviously there wasn't gonna be. So I did like the fact that Jey Uso got involved and he kind of like redeemed himself. I think, and then after that happened, you see Reigns like walking up to the stage and he's looking at him like, "Yo, didn't I tell your bitch ass to leave the building?" But then he's like, "You know what? You did good. All right, cool." And they embraced and he holds the title, and I was like, "Yo, that's a perfect ending to the show."
Don't get me wrong. I knew that Jey Uso was going to interfere in the match.
Yeah.
When we did the predictions, we knew somebody was interfering, but it was a matter of who, whether it was going to be Jey Uso for Reigns or it was going to be Orton for Drew. But obviously, Orton didn't even show up.
I think. Well, so the promo you talked about earlier, the one in front of Reigns, that sort of sealed it for me. As soon as I saw that promo, I was like, "Oh, Jay's going to get involved."
Right.
So
because whenever somebody leaves the building, they leave the building for sure.
And the only reason I hated it was because the match was so good.
I know, but it's like,
you know what?
I hate when such a good match has a crap finish.
You need to have that type of finish just so you can save both of them for a future.
Right.
I know.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I know why they did it. I just don't like that they did it in this because the match was really good.
But that's my problem with Survivor Series for the last few years. If you're gonna do these champion versus champions match, how do you do them without hurting one of the champions? Like,
honestly, Survivor Series is usually one of my least favorite pay-per-views. I hate it.
What should happen?
Randomly put together.
Happen, and what used to happen is that whoever the champion for the respective brand was
will have their own separate Survivor Series match.
And they picked the rest of the team.
Right. That would be way better. But now they're having all the champions against each other. Like Asuka and Sasha was cool. Profits and New Day was cool. Those were pretty, those were like, New Day doesn't get hurt by that. By that loss. And Asuka getting rolled up, it's like, okay, that's cool. But it's like when you put the two top champions against each other, you have no choice but to have interference because it's like now you're backing yourself up against the wall. Like, do you have Roman take the L or do you have
and Roman's so fresh off of becoming a champion and a heel.
And
can't have him lose.
And McIntyre just
Drew,
got the belt a week prior.
Yeah, none of those other champions get hurt. Asuka doesn't get hurt. New Day doesn't get hurt.
I mean,
the only person that gets, I was gonna say the only person that gets hurt is Sami Zayn.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
And he just gets hurt. Period. By the way, just to finish out the predictions, in terms of predictions, the only one that had this one right was Mike.
Right. I told you.
I
called Jay interfering.
Yeah, you did.
I'm convinced he has a stooge.
Patterson or Briscoe?
But I was talking to you, and I thought you said otherwise, so that's why I picked Drew. Like, I don't know if it was, I don't know when I was talking to you about it, but you were like, I think they have to move on with Roman and the belt. So I was like, Mike said that, so I'm gonna stick with what Mike said. And then he went out and picked opposite of what he was telling me.
That's what's called a swerve, Joe.
That's right.
Right.
Martel, we can't see you again.
I'm here. I'm just writing down something again.
Oh, okay.
So you want to go into the big finale?
Yeah.
Wait, before we get into that, I would like to shout someone out. Hold on. All right. So I want to get into for future shows. having other people, share their opinions. Maybe we can go live one day and have, like a chat or something, and have people engage with us and tell us what they thought of the shows. I had two people that they're in the section of people who are falling off of wrestling based on the product that we're getting. So it's like they're like, we still like wrestling, but we don't really follow it as much as we used to. One of those people is actually my uncle that lives in the Bronx. Um, he hasn't watched wrestling in months. He never really got into AEW. He stopped watching Raw, SmackDown, whatever. But I told him I was like, watch Survivor Series, because we're gonna do something like this. And I asked him what he thought, and he thought it was okay. He thought it was an okay show. He felt like the main event was a solid show. He feels. I want to know what you guys think. He feels like Lana's finish was kind of redundant. Now he doesn't elaborate on that, but do you guys think that there was anything redundant about her finish?
She didn't really have a
Yeah.
finish.
Yeah. She was just there.
Yeah, she just happened to be there.
Yeah, I didn't really. Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to know if you can
Like
get
why
if you can get more information on why he uses specifically the word redundant.
Maybe I used the wrong word. No, he says redundant. Interesting. Anyway,
Yeah,
he was also
it's one of the first time I've ever seen a finish like that, because she's just there, but the other one's got eliminated, like counted out. So that's default. She's the winner.
right.
Like
Yeah,
the first
that's what
time I've seen it.
That's why I was kind of like, I wonder what he means. I wish we could get him live so he can. But for future references, hopefully we can have something where we can have people call in, or we can have like a super chat. You know what I mean? But he said
yeah,
that
we can set up chat.
he also was disappointed in the treatment of Sami Zayn, because he's also a Sammy Mark just like me.
Oh,
Yeah.
Also a Sammy Mark. He
poor
loves Sammy.
Sammy.
That's the
And
representation Sammy needs out there.
right. And the last thing he said was, even though he hasn't been watching that much, based on this show, he believes Jey Uso looks really strong coming out of it, and he's looks like he's ready for a singles run, which I agree with.
Yeah, I think
Fantastic.
there's going to have to be some kind of reckoning between Jimmy and Jay.
Right.
Before you can kick all that off. But I think that
feel
will
like
probably end up being sooner rather than later.
I feel like those two are like, they're gonna have like the whole difference, and one's gonna turn, and one's gonna go babyface. Then at some point, Jimmy's just gonna come on over to Jay's side. He's like, you know what, you're right.
He has to, yeah. The same way Reigns was able to force Jay to open his eyes and realize who runs shit, is the same way that they're gonna have to do to Jimmy to get him to understand. But
it's
who
kind of
knows?
similar
Maybe
to what Cedric Alexander in the Hurt Business.
Right, exactly.
Like, I'm
you
sick
can't
of it.
beat them, join them. Right, exactly. I also have one other person. One of my friends, Ace Flair, he goes by. Really cool dude. He's a big wrestling fan as well, but he's also fallen off because he's just not invested anymore. He really enjoyed the Street Profits and New Day match, as well as Asuka and Sasha, and he loves the fact that Sammy got scraped, which I highly disagree with, my brother. But that's neither here nor there. But I'm just glad that they watched, and they at least they enjoyed what they watched.
Yeah.
That's all I want. That's why I wanted to do this show too, to bring them back in, because wrestling is fucking life. Put that
There's
in your
one.
square jar.
There it is. There's the one.
I had to. That was I had to. But that's all. That's all I have for my shout outs. Those are my guys, my Uncle Eric and Ace Flair, my brother.
All right, duly noted. So hopefully, Uncle Eric and Ace Flair, you can join us for future broadcasts.
That'll be awesome. Actually, you know how you guys know how I do music, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what's fantastic? My producer is also a wrestling fan. I got to get him on. He's pretty smart too. Hashtag did
So,
we about to be rich, baby? He's gonna love that. He's gonna love that when he sees this. Did we about to be rich, baby?
so now we move on to the final part of the evening, the part where a piece of my childhood walks off into the sunset.
That's both of us, Rob.
I need a cigarette for this one.
I
That's what I'm gonna do.
I knew I was going to be sad. I did not know how sad I was actually going to be. Um, it was really something knowing when he took that walk up the ramp and he held up his fist and the show went off the air, that it was the last time we were going to hear those bells toll and the last time we were going to hear that pipe organ music. And see that black coat and that black hat, and it really hit me.
I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty choked up too. I really was. I was like, this is it. This is it.
This is it. No more.
But I mean, I felt it, and we all did when we watched it, right? I just don't like the idea of a final farewell because it's like after his match with AJ at Mania, they did the documentary. They could have just left it at that, because what happens one day when this whole pandemic shit ends and we
Oh, he's
finally
gonna
get
get
fans
one
in the
more
building?
final farewell at WrestleMania.
That's what I'm saying. Another final farewell, like it just doesn't make sense.
He won't
I feel
do
like
it.
they could. Yeah, I don't think he'll do it either.
He
But it's
almost
like,
didn't do this one.
really.
You know what? But for his Hall of Fame induction, I think that's
He
the
did.
perfect time for him.
He only did this one because Thunderdome came into existence, because they found a way to bring fans back. Like
Right.
they found a way to give him crowd reaction and to allow the crowd to thank him. That's the only reason he did it.
Yeah, I mean, but it's still not the same.
He was
Like, I
done
feel like
after
he
the
deserved it.
documentary.
Right.
He was done
Well,
after the documentary. They actually had to work on him quite a bit to get him to do this, because he did not want to do it, and he had said his piece in the documentary, and he had the
Right.
match with AJ, and that was he felt that was it. But once Thunderdome came into existence and they found a way to bring fans back, and at least give crowd reaction, he agreed to do it for the fans who had been there for the whole ride.
Right. I mean, I
know,
feel
but
like they
I'm
could
with
have.
Martel. It's not the same.
I
It's
feel
not.
like it could have been. It could have been this. It would have done the same if they had just done like a celebratory happy 30 years. It doesn't have to be like, oh, we'll never see the Undertaker again. Because Vince, all he has to do is pick up the phone. Like, oh, I need you for a rating. Like, that's all he has to do. Whether Undertaker says, I'm done, come on. Austin's been done for years, but he comes here and there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it goes for anybody else that they count on,
No. So I agree with that in one sense, but I also, he has earned the right to say, I'm done. Vince and him have had an understanding for the last few years that sooner rather than later he was going to call time on it, and he's made it perfectly clear to Vince that once he calls time on it, he's called time on it.
I'm gonna cry.
I know
I have so much to say. If you guys are slowing down, let me know, because I got a lot with Undertaker.
Oh, I have.
Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
Well, I won't play off what Mike was saying for how it's just not the same. I wish that all the and I want to get in this too when we talk about our favorite moments, but I wish all the Saudi stuff, everything, the loss against Roman, I wish that all didn't happen because it just cheapens this, and it cheapens like a send off for the Undertaker, and it cheapens the character, and like it just sucks a little bit, like having to talk about it because like he's finally done. He's finally done is what they say, but I don't see him I can't see him making like a Stone Cold appearance on like a Monday night because it doesn't feel like that's his character.
No.
Like, yeah, but I don't know. It does suck to see the Undertaker go because it's so many like it's my childhood, it's everybody's childhood, but it feels like cheap. Like it doesn't feel right.
Like for me, even though it was nice to see, I was like, oh man, I really wish he was at a full sold out stadium with the fans right
That's
there
it.
with him.
Right.
Yeah,
Believe
definitely.
me,
He deserved that.
there,
He deserved that.
believe me,
Um,
there is nobody who was involved with that farewell last night that doesn't wish the same thing.
Yeah,
Right.
that's why I'm hoping like when he goes into the Hall of Fame, and he at least gets that like wait until we get crowds back into the stadium so you get that real chant like thank you Undertaker.
mhm.
Yeah.
Ooh, if I'd have heard that,
And you know what? I wasn't I was emotional through the whole thing, but at the end when he kneels down in the ring and they superimpose Paul Bearer,
Bro, that got me.
ooh,
I was like, oh my god.
They didn't have to do
Right
that.
there.
That got me.
I was like,
Right
oh
there.
my god. And they played
Had me right there.
Paul Bearer, the clip of Paul Bearer. And I was like, oh my god.
WWE's
Bro.
graphic team is great. I will say that. Like some of it's cheesy,
that
but
video package, oh my god.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So good.
Fantastic. And then I loved when before he came out, when after they did the couple dongs,
Yeah.
they had those electricity things, and it was
Oh,
like
the
the
Tesla
electricity
Yeah, have you
was
guys
doing the
have you
music.
guys ever seen that before where the Tesla coils play music?
Yeah.
No, but I thought it was awesome. It took me a minute though, because when I heard it, I was like, "Oh, he's doing his speed." I was like, "Oh,
So
that's
I've
cool."
actually seen a video on YouTube where two of those play the Doctor Who theme song. And then they play the Imperial March from Star Wars.
Nice.
It's really cool.
It is
Yeah, that was awesome.
very dangerous, but it's very cool.
Yeah.
Now, all of those guys that came for him, like all the legends that had a role in his career, I loved it. But
I loved and hated it.
what was right? It was like, what was the point of having them all have their own interests? It was cool. I loved it because they had all his, his gang from back in the day. His back street.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I wish they
behind
would
the
have just stood
scenes.
on the outside
Bone
of the
Street,
ring
yeah.
while he was doing his thing.
Right. At least that. But no, they just disappeared. And then
I was like, what the
Vince
hell's the
came out,
point?
and Vince almost made me cry because
I was gonna say the most
amazing.
amazing. That was the most amazing thing to me. I think that's the most emotional I've ever seen Vince McMahon.
He was trying so hard to keep it in,
It was.
Yeah.
but that was his man. That was his man.
Mhm.
But I think everybody. There was one person I wish was there, or no, two. I wish Austin had pulled up, and I feel like AJ should have been there because AJ was his last match, and it was a memorable match too. I
don't think they really had
Hardy
like, even though it was his last match, I don't think they have like that
No,
that
you're
long
right.
term kind of friendship already.
Right. You're
Hopefully
right.
in the
But I just feel
future.
like it would have
Well,
been.
and most of the
cool.
people that were there were WrestleMania opponents who were part of the streak. Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Ric Flair. So in case you guys, I wrote them all
Booker
down.
T.
Big Show was there.
Don't disrespect the two-time
I wrote
Hall of
them
Famer.
all down. So it was Shane McMahon, Big Show, JBL, Jeff Hardy, Mick Foley, The Godfather, Henry and Phineas Godwin, Savio Vega, Rikishi, Kevin Nash, Booker T, HBK, Ric Flair, Triple H, and Kane.
How dare you forget Booker T?
No, he said Booker T. I heard him.
You did? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, yo. I got choked up for Savio Vega. I'm Puerto
Really?
Rican. That's like the
I was
only one
amazed
we
to see
have.
Savio Vega.
That's
That's like the only Puerto Rican wrestler I grew up watching.
And
Right.
and is it just me, or did the Godwins just age really badly?
Yeah, It's
Like
not
Midian
good for
don't
them,
even look like Midian anymore.
right? I was like, who the hell is that guy? It's like, oh, Minion. Oh, Jesus.
Well, we said Kane was the only one that came in full gear. I guess the Godwins did too, in a way.
And
Yeah.
I love Jeff Hardy's face paint.
Yes,
Yeah, that was
I
good.
love that he had the cross. That was cool.
And I love
Can we
like-
give a little love to Mick Foley for actually not using the ring? And like, you see how happy they all were when he jumped up onto the apron?
Yeah,
yo,
they
I
were
was
like, yeah.
yeah, Mick. I was like, oh, good.
Nick,
As soon as Survivor Series was over, after I saw Jeff Hardy, I was like, yo, I gotta go watch that ladder match. And that ladder match
yeah.
was phenomenal.
yeah,
it's still
that
really
match
good.
between the Undertaker and Jeff Hardy.
I loved
so good.
after the match. After Hardy had taken that bump after getting choke slammed off the ladder, he was still trying to get up. Undertaker came back in, power bombed his ass through the ring. He was still getting up. He was like, yo, I'm not down. You can't break me. He came up. He looked like he was about to hit him again. And he was like, you know what? You're one tough son of a bitch. You know that? And I was like, yo, chill,
I'm not gonna
bro.
lie, seeing
He
all
like
those
patted
guys
him on
kinda
the
made me want
head.
to go see a match. Like,
He like
I want to
pats
go
him
watch
on the
the rec. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
he like pats him on the head.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? All right.
Good
All
boy.
right.
Good boy.
Love it.
I think I'm gonna go watch the Undertaker versus Ric Flair match again.
Oh,
That was a great
yes.
match, too.
That was
a
a
good one.
bloodbath. Ric Flair was spilling.
Yo, Rick was. This was when Rick wasn't at his finest too, and Rick was still doing great.
Right. And it's like, when you think about it, it's like The Undertaker versus Ric Flair at WrestleMania. Like, when you think about it now, it's like, yo, but it's like, at the time, I was like, oh, Undertaker versus Ric Flair. But I was young at the time. It was what,
Hey.
2000?
Now you kind of
Two,
appreciate it a lot more.
Exactly.
You guys can share your own feelings about this, but like I will always think like whenever I went and saw him live, when those bells start tolling in the arena through the sound system, they just go right through you.
Right through you, exactly.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
That's so true. That's such a great point.
We actually we talked about this before, how I mentioned the one time I saw him live that I was so close kind of to the stage where when his fire's on, like you feel like you're in hell. Like it's hot, bro. It's hot. But it's like you're mesmerized because it's like an experience like no other. Like it's like the fucking Undertaker. There's another one, sorry.
That's two.
I think we're at 3 now. But yeah, like his entrance, like I hope anybody that's a wrestling fan at least had one experience of witnessing that entrance. You know, it's something that you'll remember forever.
I was at Raw 1000 in Bridgeport.
I was there too.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait. Raw 1000 wasn't in Bridgeport, or was it the 15th anniversary?
Oh, they have like
that one was for
2
sure.
Raw specials at Bridgeport.
Yeah.
I think it was the 15th anniversary.
The 15th, I think that one, because I was there for that one too. That was when Carlito and Jeff Hardy had that ladder match. I was like, yo! But
I think Raw 1000 was in Bridgeport too.
Somebody's got to fact check that, because I would have been there.
Because
that was when Punk turned on The Rock.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was at Bridgeport.
Yeah.
It might have been. I might have missed it. If I did, I'm a bum for that.
But I mean, I can remember like, so my favorite and most personal Undertaker memory is back when he was feuding with Mankind. They had a show at the New Haven Coliseum. Yes, I'm totally dating myself now because that building doesn't even exist anymore.
Wow.
And the main event was Undertaker versus Mankind. And I had bought tickets for the event knowing that was the main event, and specifically knowing that was the main event. Well, the show ran long, and it was getting perilously close to the time for the last train out of New Haven.
Really?
and I was not going to leave the arena until I saw the Undertaker tombstone Mankind pin him and win the match.
Right. So what'd you end up doing?
I ended up missing the last train out of New Haven.
Hey,
Jesus.
that's an L you have to take.
And having to call home to explain to my parents that I had missed the last train out of New Haven. And
where were you living at the time?
Fairfield.
Oh, yeah.
And fortunately, my dad was a wrestling fan, so.
Oh, okay.
No.
I mean, I can still remember, like, so I'm gonna super date myself now, but I can still remember, like, when I was a kid, we saw WrestleMania 3 on closed circuit television at Danbury High School, and it's one of the most vivid childhood memories I have because it was pouring rain the night of WrestleMania. So we had a Woody station wagon at the time, and I sat in the trunk. And as we're driving down the highway, the rain is just cascading off of the back window of the station wagon. And it's such a vivid memory for me. I can still picture it, hear it, remember what it sounded like. And it's always stuck with me. I am very glad that I don't have to watch things on closed circuit television anymore. I will tell you that much.
Yeah, thank God.
Right. You know what's one thing I can't believe people had to deal with, like especially in the Attitude Era? The channel flipping during the Monday Night Wars.
VCRs
I'll
are
tell you this
for.
though, when
Can't
Undertaker was
relate.
on, I don't think nobody changed channels.
That's what
Yeah.
VCRs are for. Joe, you
Yeah,
know
but
what a
even
VCR
that,
is,
that's a
right?
lot of work.
I do
love
know
the
what it is,
word.
but I have rare experience with it.
Okay.
What? I used to love it. I used to love VCR because my dad used to record Raw for me on school nights. I used to watch them next day after school.
I probably still have tapes somewhere.
Actually, you know what? Believe it or not, my first WrestleMania that I ever watched as a kid, it was a big deal to me. And this is actually one of my Undertaker memories. The very first WrestleMania that I had the opportunity to watch was WrestleMania 20 back in I think 04.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my dad recorded it on VCR and also half of Raw the next night. And I was so mad because the main event in the next night was it was Shawn Michaels and Chris Benoit versus Evolution, and I never got to see that match. I'm so mad. But in that WrestleMania, I remember the entire card. That was when Eddie retained against Kurt. Benoit won the title in the main event. But that was when Undertaker came back and brought the Dead Man gimmick back after I believe he had a Buried Alive match when he was Big Evil, and then he was gone for a while. He came back, feuded with King, and then he came back as the Dead Man, and I was like, "Yo, he's back."
The last SmackDown before that WrestleMania was in Bridgeport.
Damn, son.
So
I was like 7 though.
I went
I was like
to
6
that.
or 7.
I went to that SmackDown. That was the SmackDown where the ring, they put the ring on hydraulic lifts.
Right, and
so it looked like the ring was shaking.
I was there.
Right.
Yep, I remember that.
Wow, that was.
I'm trying to think of like, damn, did I go to this one? But I remember when it was shaking the ring.
At the time, I didn't even live in Connecticut. I was living in Philadelphia at that time. So it was like Bridgeport wasn't even a thought in my head at the time.
the big deal with that.
Some really good shows.
The big deal with that match was Paul Bearer, because he had to have gastric bypass surgery.
And you couldn't walk up the steps or nothing.
Before that match, yeah, he was like 400 pounds.
Damn.
So before that match,
I thought you really got to watch that Paul Bearer documentary. It was really good.
It was really good.
The network, the Mortician?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out.
It was amazing.
That's definite.
He had to have gastric bypass surgery, and at the time he had his own website, it was percypringle.com. And when you went to it, he would write daily updates about he broke the story of his return on his website.
Really? Of Undertaker's return?
No, of Paul Bearer's return.
Oh,
Of his return as Paul Bearer.
right.
And he was very honest about his weight issues, and the WWE paid for his gastric bypass.
Nice.
Vince, when he met with Vince about coming back, he told Vince, he didn't think he could do it because he needed the surgery. And Vince was like, well, then we're going to get you the surgery.
Wow.
And they paid for the entire thing.
That's amazing.
They considered it part of the wellness policy, and they paid for the entire thing.
They don't do shit like that anymore.
Well, they actually, so believe it or not, they've been trying to help Scott Hall for the last several years.
Really?
But Scott Hall's fallen off the wagon so many times it's about 10 miles ahead of him. But yeah, their wellness policy is, if they, if you surgery or rehab or something, they'll get it for you, but you have to be willing to take it.
Right.
But so yeah, so I think that when the Undertaker spoke, that was really when I started to crack.
Did you hear his voice crack too?
Yeah.
He was trying not to.
It was very subtle. Like you could tell he was getting choked up a little bit.
30.
Right.
I mean, how do you sum up 30 years in one line? Like,
especially since he was never supposed to make it. It was just a gimmick. People were like, yo, you're never going to do this. You're never going to do that. The man lasted 30 years and he had a hell of a career. Championship wins, memorable feuds. You know what I'm saying? Like, he did it all. Royal Rumble wins, He fought his brother twice at WrestleMania. He had match of the year twice in a row with Shawn Michaels. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't get better than that. There's nobody that's ever going to match up to that,
So just to choke everybody up, the official quote is, "My time has come for the Undertaker to rest in peace."
I'm gonna cry. Don't do it. It's real. Can you imagine a world where you're never gonna hear the bong, and it's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
Pretty much my entire life I've been hearing that.
You know what's very funny is if you look in the video games over the last few years, the Undertaker has slowly been moved off of the main SmackDown roster in the video games into the Legends section.
Right.
And now that's where he appears when you get one of the new WWE video games. He's not on the active Raw or SmackDown roster. You have to take him out of the Legends roster and put him on there.
I always put him on SmackDown because Undertaker has always been a SmackDown guy for me. Well, me growing up.
No, you're right.
It's a big show.
So the funny thing is, he was on Raw for the longest time, and then they moved him to SmackDown.
Yeah.
Because SmackDown was a new fledgling show, and they needed established locker room guys to build it up. So that's how the Undertaker got to SmackDown.
Yeah. When I was growing up, I only saw him on SmackDown. It was very rare when you saw him on Raw.
That's because you're so young.
I know.
I can still remember the first Monday Night Raw, and I can remember the show that came before Monday Night Raw. which if you've never watched it on the network is called Primetime Wrestling, and it was Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan introducing pre-taped matches.
Which, by the way, those two were a great commentary team. I love Bobby Heenan.
I feel truly blessed to have met Bobby Heenan in my life, and he was absolutely hilarious. I met him at Jack's Toy Fair briefing right after he had gotten sick and he'd had his jaw surgery. But he was still so funny and so genuine. And I absolutely love. I got to talk to him for like 30 minutes, and it was
That's amazing.
just it was extraordinary.
He
I asked him.
He passed, right?
Yeah.
Damn.
I asked him what the difference was between commentating for WWE and WCW, and he said that, and I'm going to swear during this, but I'm quoting Bobby Heenan. So he said that him and Monsoon were like a family. You know, they hung out together. They went to each other's houses. He said when he got to WCW with Tenay and Tony Schiavone, he said, Tenay was a really bright guy, but very, very much kept to himself. And he said that Tony Schiavone was an asshole.
Tony.
He said that Tony Schiavone did not dress in the same dressing room as Bobby Heenan and Mike Tenay.
Damn.
Really?
And he said basically Tenay and Heenan's dressing room was a janitor's closet.
Was he even that big back then, to be honest?
Who, Heenan?
Schiavone.
Well, Schiavone was the lead anchor after Eric Bischoff joined the NWO.
Oh. You know what's funny? So obviously, because I'm so young, I wasn't too familiar with. Obviously, I knew what WCW was, and I knew who Goldberg and all the top stars were.
I should hope so, since you're wearing an NWO T-shirt.
Right, of course. You know what I'm saying? Too sweet with it, But I only remember Mike Tenay's voice. I never ever heard of Tony Schiavone until MLW restarted again, and I heard Tony Schiavone there,
Right.
And then when they brought him into AEW, they would stress it like, "Hey, he used to be in WCW." And I'm like, "Word."
Go back. If you go back on the network, you can actually watch some of the early Clash of the Champions. Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone actually call them together.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
That's why JR is so buddy with Tony Schiavone, because JR and Tony Schiavone were in WCW as commentators together for years.
That's tremendous. That's tremendous. Yeah,
no, it's yeah, he's a really Heenan was just fantastic. Like, I was talking to him, I said, he goes, I'm so glad I don't do it anymore. I couldn't get away with so much of the stuff that I got away with back in the 80s. He's like, it's like I used to call Tito Santana Chico Santana all the time. I couldn't get away with that now.
That's tremendous.
And he's like, I used to say stuff like, Tito Santana definitely needs to win this match because you got to take half the purse and send it back home to Mexico for his family.
He was like, he'd get fucked now if he said that.
Oh my god.
Oh no, that would not fly, dog.
Well, that was one for you, Mart. That was one for you, Joe.
Yeah, that's amazing, bro. That's amazing.
Yeah, he was a riot. I was so sad when I heard he had passed. He was something else.
Absolutely.
But he and Monsoon were just, they were family. They were just the best of friends, and the chemistry they created was very difficult to duplicate. And I think WWE found itself very lucky when JR and the King were able to create that same kind of synergy.
Right. And it's hard to hear nowadays in the new era too.
And
Like we
I
were
think,
talking about before.
yeah, I think the amazing thing with JR and the King was that, you know, it started off that JR was the face and King was the heel. And then eventually they just sort of became, you know, the King sort of stopped being a heel, like a hard heel anyway, and
Right.
became sort of more of a softer heel. And once the two of them really like completely gelled, it was just off to the races. You know, I don't think
I loved when like after Jim Ross, you know, after he wasn't really a fixture in the company anymore. I loved when
Hey, yo, guys, I gotta go.
Oh, all right.
No, please
Legit,
don't go.
I'm
a car just flipped over on my street.
Oh my God.
So I gotta go.
What a way to end this show, right?
I know, right? That's how we do it on this
Damn.
podcast, I guess. All right, I'll see you
That's all
guys.
right. All right,
Bye.
peace out, brother.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna head out with Mike because I just saw it was 1:45. I gotta get going.
That's fine. Me
As
and Rob
Martel
will
said,
wrap
it's
up
my
the show.
bedtime.
That's your bedtime, Joe.
All right, yeah, you guys have a good
School
one.
tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, bro. Yo,
Bye,
you did a
Joe.
good job today, bro. You did a good job. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you
All
so
right,
much.
see you. Thank you. I gotta Wi-Fi though.
All right, Rob. So it's just
See you.
us. I was saying, forgot what I was saying. I loved when like Undertaker would request to have Jim Ross call
Yeah.
his matches, and I feel
Yep.
like it made his matches that much bigger. You
Yep.
know, like with I think one of the matches he did was with Sean, right? Where he had no. The last one I remember that he requested was him and Triple H, and it was either the no holds barred match or it was the Hell in a Cell. I can't remember.
It was the end of an era Hell in a Cell match.
Right. So I thought it was just
And
just bliss.
excuse me.
Bless you, Robert. Bless
And he
you.
also requested him for the Roman Reigns match.
Right.
His last match.
Right. His last match. Like,
Well, it was his
that-
last sort of in a ring wrestling match.
right.
Because the Boneyard match really wasn't in a ring match.
Right. Well, I mean, but even after him and Reigns, it was like him and Goldberg, him and DX. It was just like whatever. I mean, we saw the last ride.
Well, his last
documentary, so we know why.
his last WrestleMania match.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't his last WrestleMania match, but I can't bring myself to call what happened with Cena a match.
Ugh. If they were gonna do that with Reigns, why break the streak early?
That was his decision.
I mean, who knows? Was it?
Yes.
There's a conspiracy.
No, that was his decision.
I like to believe that.
I know you like to believe that, but I'm telling you, it was his decision.
No, you're right. I like to believe, even though it's most likely not true at all. But you know, Brock's like, you know, I'm not losing this. I'm taking it. Because there was like an interview with Paul Heyman where he's like, hey, let me put this in your head. And he's like, what if, you know, Taker was supposed to go over, but it's like Brock was like, nah, I'm taking it. You think Undertaker's gonna stop him?
Yes.
Do you really think that Undertaker can stop a beast from crippling this man? And do you think Vince is gonna fire Brock Lesnar after this happens? Because it's like, how can you fire Brock Lesnar? What? You think he would fire Brock Lesnar after ending the streak? No, he'd be the hottest in the company.
The Undertaker.
But Paul Heyman was doing it as
yeah.
He was like throwing it into the air, like, oh, maybe this happened, maybe it didn't. But obviously, it probably wasn't the case. But I like to believe it.
What I'm telling you is that Vince McMahon told the Undertaker that it would be entirely up to him when the streak ended and who ended it. Because after, I think it was after 18-0, Vince told the Undertaker that he had earned the right to decide when it was over.
Mm-hmm.
So the Undertaker picked Brock Lesnar.
I mean, it's a good pick too because he's Brock Lesnar. But because after that year, then that's when he did. I believe the year after that was him and Bray.
That
Am
was
I
him and
correct in
Bray.
saying that? So it's like you're gonna. The least he could have did was put Bray over if he had already lost the year before, because it's like you put. You Brock goes over, breaks the streak. The next year you go over Bray Wyatt, and the next year after that you lose in your apparent last match.
So
What's
I
the
think
point?
what happened with Bray is that I think that both The Undertaker and WWE underestimated how badly people were going to react to the end of the streak.
Right.
And I think that Bray Wyatt was, for lack of a better term, thrown to the wolves to appease the fan base that got really mad about how the Undertaker was treated the previous year.
Right.
That's really what I think happened. I think that whoever was penciled in next to the Undertaker that particular WrestleMania was always going to be thrown to the wolves, and it just happened that it was Bray Wyatt.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, but it just sucks that it had to be Bray Wyatt because Bray Wyatt was hot at the time.
I mean, a lot of people point to that as the beginning of the Bray Wyatt's thought process of changing his character. Because obviously he goes to WrestleMania and gets destroyed by the Undertaker. Something's not working.
Well, on top of that, the year prior, actually, I believe the same year the streak was broken, he lost to Cena too.
Right.
I don't know. But I do like the fact that they were able to turn those losses and twist it into what they have now and the Fiend, because the Fiend is arguably the hottest thing in the company. We have Drew, he's come up as a star. Roman's hot too. But it's like who's really matching up to Bray Wyatt in terms of character, in terms of spectacle, in terms of, the stories that he's intertwining. Like I love the fact that he's teasing this new Randy feud based on what happened, in their feud a few years ago. And who knows? Maybe these are the seeds that they're planning to. He could be the next Undertaker. You know what I'm saying? Like, of this generation. I don't think. I mean, it's hard to tell this early, but who knows? Who knows what they'll do with Bray? As long as they let him do his thing instead of trying to go out of their way to kill it every time.
All right. Do you want to talk about Raw, or do you want to
we can skim through it real quick if you want. Yeah.
All right. So obviously the big deal is the next challenger for Drew. So you've got by the way, I'd like to send out a special kudos to Adam Pearce for taking that freaking headbutt from Strowman.
Yes.
Holy crap.
Yes, absolutely. And they've had this thing the last couple of years where they're like done with authority figures, but it's like they don't outright say
I do like the
Adam
fact
Pearce
that
is in charge.
I do like the fact that Adam Pearce has his own little catchphrase now.
And that's official,
and
right?
That's official.
I love it. When he said that,
next week on WWE Shop, you watch a T-shirt with Adam Pearce's face on it, and that's official.
He's gonna get over. Watch.
They're gonna make a figure of him. It's gonna be hilarious.
As soon as he said that, when
he's gonna be Build-A-Figure in a Walmart wave. Watch.
That would be cool. He might even have his own.
No,
as soon as
they never do.
As soon as he said that, for Drew and Randy, I was like, oh, that's it.
So this, I think, is going to be another way that that the AEW line is gonna show itself off as different from the WWE line, because Jazzwares has scanned all the announcers and all the referees, and
Wow,
and they are all getting figures.
that's cool. But it's like, why do you need all the referees?
Because Aubrey Edwards wants her own damn figure.
Oh, Aubrey Edward, she's amazing. She's fantastic, in and out, inside the ring and outside. I love her. She's awesome.
But yeah, they've scanned JR, they've scanned Tony Schiavone, and they've scanned Excalibur.
I like
and
Rick Knox too.
To the best.
Rick Knox likes to get into the mix sometimes.
And Brad Remsberger. But they're all getting figures. And the only one, believe it or not, who has had a figure of all of them is Jim Ross.
Right.
Tony Schiavone never got a figure in the WCW line.
Wow.
And Justin Roberts has not had a figure yet either, and he is going to get a figure in the line as well.
That's cool.
Which I think is really neat. So they have the qualifying matches. So tonight they had oh, you died again. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight they had Matt Riddle versus Sheamus, or I should just say Riddle. He doesn't use the mat anymore.
I still call him Matt Riddle.
Riddle versus Sheamus, Bobby Lashley versus Keith Lee, and
I gotta go back and watch that. I had to skim through a lot of Raw just so I can hurry up and get to this show.
And Randy Orton versus AJ Styles.
How was that?
Oh my God. They were all great. Matt Riddle's match against Sheamus was phenomenal.
Fantastic. That was a banger. Every time he stepped in the ring with Sheamus, has always been a banger.
The Keith Lee Bobby Lashley was astonishing.
Two big beefy boys. That's how I like it.
And
wow, you're supposed to laugh at that, Rob.
Yeah. And Randy Orton versus notice I'm going right past it. And Randy Orton versus AJ was just, it was main event match.
Right.
But what happened at the end of it is the really
spoil it for me. Go ahead.
Big deal part. So Randy Orton is Orton's in the ring with AJ, and all of a sudden all the lights start going out.
Uh-oh.
So Randy, the lights go back on, and Randy's in the ring, and
my suspense is building.
He's looking for it, and as he turns around, AJ's been on the top rope, so AJ hits him with the phenomenal forearm and pins him.
No way. I was so sure Randy was going over. I was so sure.
So the field for next week for the triple threat match is Riddle versus Keith Lee versus AJ Styles.
That's gonna be insane.
But it's not over yet, because Randy loses, Randy loses, and he's looking around the ring, and all of a sudden all the lights turn red, and that creepy little psycho sting starts, and Randy's looking around, and all of a sudden he's right behind him. So Randy turns around, and the Fiend goes, "Boo!"
No way.
And then the lights turn off again, and come back on normal, and all you can hear is the Fiend's laughter.
Wow, that's tremendous.
So great. And then the other big bit on Raw is Lana.
You know what?
Wait.
We might as well
hear what happened.
We might as well get behind her now, because it's clear that they have plans for her at this point. Like,
you have to hear
we
what
thought she was
though.
being punished. From what I know, she was being interviewed in the back, and they were like, "Hey, what's next for you now? After you were the sole survivor."
Yeah.
do you think a championship match is next? And she's like trying to blow it off, like, oh no, I wasn't thinking about that. So then when Asuka sees her, she's like, yes, let's do it.
Oh, it's great. It was a fantastic. She's like,
Fantastic.
I hear you won the championship match.
That was good, Rob. That was a good impression. Yes, I was I guess Lana's getting another match.
And she's like, and I love how Asuka at the end is like, maybe you will walk away tonight as a Raw Women's Champion.
You could, but we all know she's not.
No.
But getting into that match is like it lasted maybe like not even 5 minutes before, Nia and Shayna come in, and it's like, I don't know, it's a tag match. I actually didn't finish that match, so you can go over that one real quick.
So Nia goes to put Asuka through the announce table.
Of course.
And
because it wouldn't be Raw without it.
Well, no, Asuka, not Lana.
Right.
Asuka.
Right. Okay.
Lana comes out of the ring and pulls Asuka off of Nia's shoulders.
And that was when they ran away. I
No.
get that.
That's not when they ran away.
No.
After that, Asuka is still by the announce table. So Nia goes to try and spear her into the announce table. Asuka ducks and Nia goes sailing over the announce table.
Damn. Did she go through it, or she just went over it?
She went over it, and I think she hit her head on the barricade.
Oof.
So she's there for a little while. Meanwhile, Shayna's getting back in the ring. And Asuka pins Shayna to win the match. And then Shayna is trying to, so Shayna, Nia's getting back in the ring, or Nia's getting up, and Shayna is glaring at them, and Asuka gets out of the ring, and Lana is already up the ramp. Lana points at Asuka and goes, "Love you, Asuka." It's so funny. It was such a funny segment. It was fantastic.
I don't like Shayna's treatment at all whatsoever. I don't like the way they're treating Shayna. Like, she was an absolute killer in NXT, but it's like now she's doing these little ha-ha moments, and like the way we were talking about, Drew selling for certain people, Undertaker certain for selling people. Shayna shouldn't be selling for half these girls. Like, the way she bumps for like Liv Morgan and Lana, and I'm like, no, you should be killing these girls. And it's like, what are we gonna do though?
It's gonna be spectacular when Shayna finally turns on Nia.
Oh my God, yes.
It's gonna be
the other way around.
Absolutely spectacular.
Yeah. I could see it vice versa. Nia slapping her again, and they brawl or something, and then.
No, I think Nia will be content to use Shayna until Shayna's fed up with being used.
Right. I could see that happening too.
Is what I see happening. All right, so those were the big beats from Raw.
I did like New Day versus Hurt Business. However, yes. I don't think this match. Well, I mean, it was good. It was really good. I think last week's was much better though.
Yeah,
for sure.
Also, I really hope, since they set it up in a backstage segment, I really hope in 2 weeks that Matt Riddle and MVP do have their little Shark Tank thing.
I missed that. Explain.
So Matt Riddle goes up to MVP in the back and goes, "Hey, so I hear you're like into all this like business stuff. Like, I've got a ton of ideas, dude. So like, what does everybody like? Pizza. What does everybody also like? Yogurt. So how about pizza flavored yogurt?"
Wow. He's a goof. He's another one too. Like,
MVP's like, are you serious? It's like, yeah, dude, if you add protein powder to yogurt, you can call it Progurt.
Matt Riddle's hilarious, but I feel like they're using him more as
MVP
like haha too.
So MVP is like, no, you know what? I'll tell you what. Because originally MVP wanted to meet with Lashley, or with Matt Riddle wanted to meet with Lashley, and MVP is like, do you think Bobby Lashley has time for this sort of thing? And Matt Riddle's like, well, yeah. I mean, it is a business. So MVP goes, I'll tell you what, you get all of your best ideas together and you bring them in 2 weeks and you bring them here and pitch them to me. And he goes, and Matt Riddle goes, oh, kind of like Shark Tank. And MVP is like, exactly like Shark Tank. If we like your ideas, we'll do business. If we don't like your ideas, we'll do business.
That's great. Great play on words. I love it.
I was like, oh,
I could definitely see Matt Riddle feuding with those guys.
I just want to see Matt Riddle show up in like a suit. And I hope they build like a Shark Tank set or something.
Something cool. Yeah. I like when they do things out of the box where it's like, it's not too hokey, but it's still entertaining.
Yeah.
You know?
All right. So those were the big beats from Raw tonight.
Right.
Oh, also the Alexa Nikki Cross match.
Right. Go through that for me. I also missed that.
Which was preceded by a super disturbing Firefly Funhouse. With a new animal.
The frog. Yes, I wanted to talk about the
friendship frog. Who Alexa Bliss beat the crap out.
Killed it. It was so funny though. It was. When I saw the frog, I was like, "What? Another firefly? A firefly friend?"
Nope. Don't get too attached.
No.
Don't get too attached.
I love the little vignette they did of it when it was a tadpole and it grew up. And it was, I was like, "What is this? Like, who is this frog?" Great stuff. I love everything about Bray.
So the actual Alexa match was very weird. So she sort of dodged Alexa she sort of dodged Nikki for the beginning part of the match, and she was like playing all cutesy and everything, sort of skipping around the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nikki had butted her in the stomach. And
Nikki also got new entrance music, I saw.
Yes. And Alexa ended the match with sort of her own version of Sister Abigail. But instead of it twisting to the side like Crossroads, it's almost like a front face DDT.
Oh, okay.
Like you'll have to watch it and see what I mean.
Right.
And then she covered her by laying on her with her elbows up and her hands like this.
Wow.
That was how she covered her. I was
amazing.
Like, oh boy.
I love it. I love this new character shift for her.
That was Raw. I mean, it was a pretty solid show.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really enjoyed it.
Tonight and last week were definitely better shows than Raw has been. Raw has been pretty. It's like like I've said before, like as a wrestling fan, I'm gonna watch regardless if it's garbage or not, just because I love pro wrestling and I feel as a wrestling fan I'm obligated to watch, even though I'm not. If I don't want to watch, I don't have to watch. But I'm still gonna watch.
Rough this last month because they were building to a pay-per-view where they couldn't advance any angles.
Right, exactly. It's like some angles were still progressing, like Jey Uso and
but like
or whoever else. But it's like,
like you couldn't progress anything with Drew and the WWE title, and you couldn't progress anything with the New Day and any other tag team champions,
right?
Or any other tag team contenders. Like you couldn't progress any of the angles that you're now progressing starting this week.
Right.
So I think you'll see the stories start to click a little more. going on from this week, because you're now progressing towards a pay-per-view where you'll have matches against, people for your titles.
Right. I was actually surprised of absences of certain stars. Like Drew wasn't on the show, right?
No.
Neither was Miz and Morrison. Did
No.
you happen to see Retribution at all?
No.
It's like, whoa, they were
It's Thanksgiving week.
Right. So it's like, last week you had Retribution beating Team Raw.
Right.
Team Raw gets the victory last night, and you don't see Retribution at all. Like, not even a promo, at least, nothing.
Well, I think that the thinking was that they weren't necessary at the moment, so it's easier to use the people that have to be used to to build the story where it needs to go right now.
Right.
And then, like, I'm sure next week Drew will be back. But I think this week was all about the sort of supporting cast to the angle, if you will.
Right. I could definitely see Drew coming back next week, obviously feeling set back from the, defeat that he took. But I'm very interested to see who's next up to challenge him between the three.
I would be very surprised if Drew wasn't on commentary for that match.
Right. Or at least somewhere ringside, watching. Yeah. Or even
I'd be very surprised if he wasn't on commentary.
Right. I could definitely see it affecting his mental a little bit in terms of, like, he lost to Roman, he won, he beat Randy for the belt, went into Survivor Series thinking that, please underestimate me, if you will.
Right.
But it just didn't work out for him. So I could see that playing into, his return next week. Or even if they don't use him next week, maybe they keep him off again. Maybe they have a segment, rehashing what happened between him and Reigns. I don't know. But I'm definitely interested to see what happens with Drew moving forward. And also, we got Riddle, Keith Lee, and AJ, who one of them is next up. And any one of those guys against Drew is going to be a banger regardless of who wins. I personally, my pick is AJ. I would definitely like to see a program between AJ and Drew, especially since, AJ has this big guy with him. Maybe he's going to play a role in the coming weeks, because the past few weeks, the big guy hasn't really done much, especially physicality-wise. He hasn't really, he's just there, So maybe that'll play a factor into it.
Well, I guess we'll all find out next week.
Mm-hmm. Anything else you want to touch on?
I think that's it for now. All right, so let's wrap this up. So all in all, we all thought Survivor Series was a pretty solid pay-per-view. There were some surprises, there were some not surprises, and Sami Zayn got his ass beat. Utterly ragdolled. So the second half of this Fallout, the first half of the Fallout was tonight on Raw. The second half of this Fallout is obviously Friday night on SmackDown. So do you want to try and do something Friday or Saturday to
we could definitely SmackDown? Yeah, we could definitely try to do something Friday
because we should probably talk about Dynamite too. Dynamite's going to be Wednesday, so
damn. See, that's what I was saying. It's a lot. Remember I was saying, if we do Raw, we have to do Wednesday. We have to do Friday. We could try to, we'll see what we can do. I don't see why not.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. So you'll see us all again eventually. So for Martel and for Mike and Joe, who had to go to bed already.
Bedtime, boys.
I'm Rob, and we're the Four Jobbers, and we will see you next time.
Martel.